the triple kill, but Sona Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Sona Finn will find more!
Where's Miracle? He's trying to come upstairs, but Crafty will get the ace. He'll get the plant. He'll do it all.
Device misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the first.
Oh,
he pushes
Dylan!
on through. Dylan is better.
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for Bone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to SCS Season 5. It's Monday night, but that is not going to stop us from kicking off the weekend style with some fantastic matchups. A doubleheader tonight, which should be fantastic to watch. My name is Jays Wills, and joining me tonight, of course, you know him, it's Crow. His hair is not blocking his eyes today, so that is pretty good to see.
I have purposefully moved it out of my face. I tried doing the Michael Exile middle part again, but like, he told me to do this thing he saw on TikTok where like you push your hair behind your ears and it did this instead of the wavy stuff. So we have Michael to blame for the atrociousness that is on top of my head. But like you said, we have a pretty interesting doubleheader today. As you can see, this is our format. It hasn't changed, only we're on week 2. Like you said, it is a Monday night. This, if you guys haven't noticed, is in fact a reschedule. Normally we're on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but because of the NSG tournament later this week, I'll let you figure out why we've rescheduled it to earlier. We're on day 2. Well, I guess, is this technically, we're doing like the second half of day 1 and the first half of day 2, because we only had one game yesterday, which went 2-0 the way of Aerial Arise against our former champions of D2E. Tonight, our first game is going to be PDHM Vale, another Challenger League show-off, later followed by Honor versus Synthetic. Synthetic, unfortunately, playing with 2 subs after Unfair and Wings have left the team. Unfair, I think he's LFT, Wings joining Aerial Arise. These are the standings as followed as well. Of course, Aerial Arise have played 4 maps, as you can see, as compared to everyone else in the league other than D2E. D2E unfortunately struggled in the beginning of our season, only able to find 3 points against no plants, not being able to bring either of the maps to overtime with Aerial Arise.
It is unfortunate to see, our former champions struggling so much early in the season, but, you can find some good in that. And the fact that it just means that we have so much better competition this season. I mean, we just have some incredibly strong teams, and the 2 teams tonight are a perfect example of that. These are 2 well-known Challenger League rosters, PDHM and Team Vale. But last week, they were not able to pick up a single point. PDHM losing both maps to Honor, and Vale losing both maps to Project Neo. And we can take a look at our rosters here, and of course you recognize some of these names, but all of these players, they just did not find their groove as much in week 1 as I am certain they would have liked. So this week, coming out here, going against each other, they should be in pretty familiar territory with the level of competition. They're definitely going to be looking to step it up.
Yeah, of course, with PDHM falling 2-0 to Honor, Vale losing 2-0 to Neo, like you said, and Vale winning exactly 1 more round than PDHM did over the course of both of their 2-map losses. And you see the rosters are as follows. PDHM have WAV, the only original member of the team, Subarctic, Raffi, Exo, and Prompted. Meanwhile, on Vale, we have Psycho, Frozen, Hypers, and Marmalade, and you can see there's a little slash there because, unfortunately, Angelo Afer Ferrari will not be joining us tonight. Instead, we will be subbing in at our good friend Tyler, who previously competed on Survey Corps, as well as Joe Academy, the squad who beat PogChamp in ESA and beat Valkyrie, now known as Project Neo, to win EPS Season 4. Here's the stats. And although being handed 2-0 losses, they didn't do too poorly. You've still got 3 members of PDHM with a above a 1.0 rating. WAB, Subarctic, and Raffi, of course, all on kind of like entry roles, with Raffi on Flank Watch Flex, and of course, Psycho and Afer as well on those entry roles, boasting above a 1.0.
Yeah, still pretty impressive stuff, but you can see that they did, struggle when it came to just, maintaining that positive KD. They struggled to really make their impacts felt, round after round, as much as obviously their opponents did. Subarctic's got a nice 69% cost. That is the highest cost on PDHM, and also just thought that was worth mentioning. No, I do really think that this matchup should be pretty good to watch. Even though they didn't have the best weeks, I think it'll be great to see how they start to, come into their element as we progress in the season. I mean, last night we saw Ariel Arise. They talked about in the interview, Lava said that win, that 2-0 win, could not come at a better time, especially after their poor week 1 performance. And for these two teams, I think it's the exact same case. They're definitely going to be wanting to come out strong. We can take a look at our caster predictions, though, and you can see below my name there, that 80% number. Now, as you can see, that is the highest number out of all of our other casters. That number is just the correct percentage. Currently boasting the highest percentage. Now, Crow, your lack of a number there, can you explain that to me?
I'm going for the 0% prediction run. Through the end of the season, I will not get a single one correct. So I voted this as a tie. So hopefully, for the sake of my record, we see a 2-0. Actually, for the sake of both of our records, right? A 2-0 for PDHM would help both of us out. That's what we're looking at.
All right.
The community poll is wrong, I think. I think we actually forgot to send one out. So it's not actually 50-50. But I imagine it would be pretty close considering the tenure of a lot of these players. They've been around the scene for a very long time. They've both got some new pickups. So I imagine it's pretty even. Maybe it would skew more towards PDHM because Vale, of course, have a sub. But, how many people who actually vote in these polls know what's going on anyway. So, okay, there it is. It's updated. Okay, PDHM 67%, Vale 33%. I can definitely see that, especially with PDHM losing to a Challenger League team, Vale losing to an underage team. That would kind of skew it a bit.
Well, I mean, but Project Neo, they've been quite the conversation, over the last few weeks. Their meteoric rise, I think, to the level of some of these teams, and, taking down Vale last week, that's definitely the statement that they were looking to make here. But we can take a look at our map bans, and looks like we'll be ending up on Clubhouse and Oregon tonight, so nothing super surprising. You can see that Coastline and Villa were those first two bans, and just to remind you who aren't familiar with our format, we actually use an auto ban system here at SCS. So the maps that these two teams picked last week are automatically relegated out of the map pool for the following week. And Villa obviously being Team Vale's map pick and Coastline being PDHM's pick, they weren't able to secure those maps, but regardless, they will not be played this evening.
And following that, Cafe, PDHM not wanting to go back there. Theme Park, pretty much going to be an auto ban throughout the rest of the season. Consulate, no one likes it. Everyone thinks it should be taken out of the pool instead of a different map. So we're left on Clubhouse in Oregon. It's Club in Oregon. What can we say about those maps? Club has become what a lot of people consider to be pretty stale. Oregon is not yet stale, but it's still pretty linear. And, if you're Challenger League teams, not really wanting to show too much off, but still having a good game, these are kind of like the ideal maps. So I imagine it'd still be a pretty close contest, but I doubt we'll be seeing anything new.
I mean, these two maps, you're going to see the same stuff pretty much every time. Sometimes you'll see a more strat-forward day. Oregon is one of those maps that can be so flexible in the way it plays out in any given evening. Sometimes that's going to be extremely frag-heavy, players just running around willy-nilly, just shooting each other. And, sometimes it can play extremely methodical. And the 20-second meta that you see on Clubhouse, especially on those basement attacks, can find its way onto Oregon as well. I'm really not entirely sure what we are going to see tonight, but like you suggested, these teams are definitely not looking to, show their hand, per se. They're going to likely just look for the run and gun strategy to be their, at least, main approach tonight. With Challenger League coming up at some point in the near future, these two teams are going to want to, hopefully hold those things back. But, Crow, these two teams, Challenger League, it's your home. You've got to be quite familiar with the way this one is going to shake out. Anything crazy you could expect?
Well, they are Challenger League teams, but I haven't actually casted them in Challenger League yet. They're new. They just hold the license thanks to WAV being on PDHM from last season and Marmalade being on Bracket Blessed. She kind of built the roster around herself. So they both have Challenger League spots, but they haven't actually played in Challenger League yet. They're treating SCS as kind of their warm-up. So already we see pretty standard bans for Clubhouse. Hibana off the board first. You just don't want to play Clubhouse on the defense as PDHM are starting out on with a Hibana on the board. Allows way too much flexibility for the attackers. And Maverick being banned makes Cade less relevant because now you've still got Thatcher. You can still deny any sort of tricking. Maybe Bandit will come into play instead of the Cade because of that, or maybe he'll still be played on the basement just to waste those EMPs and stuff like that. Well, my being the next man makes Rafters way easier to take, positions like Generator way easier to take, and also opens up the use of Capital, which we've seen become a hell of a lot more common, especially when Aerial Arise was playing. I believe it was Lava and Woods who were sticking on those roles. And Mira being the last one, another very standard ban.
Well, I got to admit, I am a huge fan of leaving Thatcher on the board in favor of the Havana and Maverick ban. I mean, we see Thatcher banned just way too much, and with this change, it means that we're seeing, I mean, not like an unprecedented Clubhouse, certainly, but in my opinion, a lot more fun to watch. I love to see teams attempt to go with the active bandit trick. We're going to see it right away on this CCTV and cash bomb site. I mean, G2 did this in the recent finals, where they just brought out the bandit, they just left the Thatcher up, and they played a really strong lounge hold with a player downstairs in blue rotating through oil pit and secret. You had a player on the bottom of red stairs with a shotgun just swinging out and contesting anyone who tried to come below to deny the bandit trick vertically. So many more opportunities present themselves when you leave these two when you leave the Thatcher on the board. Of course, like you mentioned, Cade is not going to be as much of a presence, but it still is relevant to bring those Electro Claws, because if you don't, you are allowing teams to just get those hatches open for free instead of, having to waste those EMP grenades, having to spend the time to rotate your Thatcher around. And, after round number 1 on their attack, if there's no Kaid in play, maybe an attacking team would be so bold as to ignore the Thatcher completely. I don't think that would be the play overall, but, on this site, we will be seeing the Bandit come out rather than that Kaid. And look at this deployable shield. This is that very same setup that G2 were showcasing, the combination of the mute as well. It just makes holding this wall even easier.
Yeah, like you said, he's got a shield to protect him from that drone hole. He's got a man on red to cover bottom, make sure no one can get easy vertical presence. And he also got Wav roaming downstairs. Raffi will be the man inside of Rafters, and you've even got Exo all the way extended over towards construction. So it's a pretty spread out defense. And the way Vale are going to be taking it, obviously going to try and open plat wall first. Unfortunately for Subarctic, though, they've brought an Ace, and Ace is significantly harder to bandit trick, especially when combined with that Capital Firebolt sent in from the server window by Frozen. At least I believe it was from the server window. Or, okay, it may have been through... Oh, you know what? It was... I didn't know that... I didn't see that they opened the top of the garage wall. It was through the window rotate to hit the wall, deny the bandit trick completely. So now all Subarctic is a man with a good gun and a C4. Raffi getting distracted by bottom garage, I guess unaware that the wall was open, will go down inside of Rafters, and he'll be pretty much irrecoverable. I mean, there's really no way for any of the defenders to rotate through, not with the control that the attackers already have, and Wav will be first picked by the Sledge of Hypers. A good entry so far from Vale.
Yeah, this is a pretty good start. The use of the Capital was especially impressive. It's amazing how one operator can single-handedly dismantle your defensive attempt, and that's exactly what Frozen just did there. Axe is going to pick up another, this one taking down Raffi, so that's a good pick, but that was the kill that was already basically secured, falling down in garage. An incredible shot there from Prompted. A bold swing is going to net the kill onto Axe, keeping things, relatively even here, but PDHM are no doubt still on the back foot. You've got the pressure mounting from this breach side, the platform wall, and some pressure mounting in garage as well. No, the plant's actually going to go on down. Marmalade sticking that, but a good C4 toss from Exo is going to shut that on down. Psychosis now going for the plant in response. Nothing there to deny it. No C4, the Toxic Babe slightly off the mark. Oh no, a C4 from below, that's huge. Subarctic making it happen there, and now giving PDHM the edge.
I don't know if that was below. I think it may have actually been he's jumped out construction and threw the C4 through the window because he's already rotated back. So that was just in the nick of time. You saw how close the bomb was to being planted, but Frozen is able to just one-tap there, finish off the low HP Prompted. Exo on his rotate in. That's an easy kill for Hypers. Subarctic finds one, but he needs to find the second, and low HP means an easy cleanup for Frozen coming off the plant. Vale with a brilliant entry, though it got a bit dicey in the mid-round thanks to excellent C4s from the defense, are still able to lock out their first attack.
Well done there from Team Vale. And again, the Capital really just comes in so big when you're dealing with an active bandit trick. And when you ban the Wamai in anticipation of this very thing, it's no surprise how well that worked out. You open up just the smallest hole in the right side panel of the garage, from that spawn side of things, and you just look right in, send one firebolt on through, and it forces the bandit off the wall. It's as simple as that. The Wamai is a necessity for this strategy, and that is why we saw it get dismantled so quickly. So a great job there from Team Vale to realize what they were dealing with and to quite quickly, counter it. It was very impressive, I've got to say. And to see them do that on this bomb site, and PDHM nearly get it, mind you. They were a couple of really good C4s. The run out from construction that you mentioned that I didn't even notice because it was just so damn quick. Just impressive stuff that just could not quite counter the early traction that Vale had been mounting. They got that platform wall up so quickly, and from there it was just a waiting game. Just wait for PDHM to go for these swings and force them to really spur into action once that plant goes down.
Yeah, something else that we really can't fail to mention is how low the time was and how little that affected Vale because of how early they were able to get Rafters control. Rafty playing in Rafters pretty much just gave his life away by standing in the middle of the view of Platwall, and Axe just shot him. So although Vale, we're kind of stuck outside of Platwall for a little bit, there's really good C4 presence as well from PDHM tonight plant, but because they've just been able to post inside of Rafters and just send one body into plant one after another pretty safely and have Hypers, cut Exo off as he tried to make his way in, was really the clincher. Again, it was really close in the mid-round. It was a great attempt at a recovery from PDHM, but Vale being able to lock it out there. Hopefully Rafi doesn't lose his life, 30 seconds into the round again.
This time around, we're seeing a little bit different setup. There's not going to be that shield in front of the wall to assist Subarctic on the bandit trick, but, it would have been a wasted piece of utility anyway. Frozen immediately sent that firebolt on through, not 45 seconds into the round, and there goes the platform wall. It's been opened wide by those Selma charges. We did have one disconnect, though, so that's going to give Vale a bit more of a harder time to get this one going, but given that they've already made a good bit of progress, this one's not quite over yet for them. You've got Axe looking on through the platform wall, eyes towards Raffi, who's been pinged out on Rafters, and a firebolt will perfectly deal with that player. A nice job there, again, from Vale, using those asphyxiating bolts just to their fullest extent. That's going to equalize the count now to a 4v4, and Vale still have ample time to work with.
Yeah, excellent work there from Frozen. Raffi was pretty much just 1 HP there, so one tick from that firebolt put him down nice and easy. Hypers moving in to secure control of Garage as he walks onto the steps, finds Wav through the swamp doorway. So down go 2 members of PDHM. The early advantage they had accrued just due to the disconnect of Psycho has now slipped away, and they find themselves -1 man. Nade goes in, does a little bit of damage to Exo, and they've only got 1 C4 in pocket, but as I say that, it will now be ripped away by Hypers. That really, really good presence we saw last round to deny those plants will no longer be available to PDHM in their second go-around, and Subarctic is now down on the floor. It's been 3 kills and 1 down in a row for Vale since the disconnect, and that leaves Prompted in a 1 versus 4. He'll see the sledge cross, be smoked off. He's in a perfect position to deny the plant for the... to try getting it right behind the desk by the... but his position is now known. Marmalade will likely plant on top of the green box, avoiding any sort of downstairs pressure, and indeed, she's actually hit by the doorway. Prompted does get a second kill onto Frozen, so good momentum so far by Prompted. See if he's able to actually string this into the round win, but as I say that, he peeks over towards green box and looks away as Marmalade peeks her head up. Another round in a row for Vale.
Yeah, great job there, just even making quicker work of the CCTV and catch bomb site than before, despite the disconnect. Vale just continued on the pressure, not slowing down whatsoever. So, a great job from them, and we're hopefully going to see them continue that pressure going forward. With PDHM not able to lock down the bomb site twice in a row, that's definitely going to send them off to send them off to a different bomb site. They're not going to want to repeat that. And it's amazing how Capitao is just able to dismantle that. The whole thing just gets brought down by one operator, and I think Vale are doing a great job of using that so damn well. PDHM, they almost had it. I mean, that was almost an incredible opportunity to clutch that one up because Marmalade, she was at 1 HP, a Toxic Babe just clipping. The ace barely could have been enough to make that a 1v1, but regardless, the 4v1 situation, that's not something Vale are going to lose out.
I've now won 2. If you're PDHM, you really got to be worried about your defenses now. You really have to hope that you can lock down Church and Gym. Because even then, right? Even if you win Church, you go to Gym, you win both of those, you still have to go back to Cash and figure out what the hell went wrong. Otherwise, pretty much going to have a free even half on Club Attack, which, again, is a pretty big deal going in their second half. I don't know. I honestly, if I'm PDHM, maybe just full reinforce Rafters at this point, because with that Capitao on the board and no Wamai, Vale have had Rafters for free every single round. All you're doing right now, if you're PDHM, by holding Raffi and Rafters, is losing Raffi.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with the Rafters hold, right? When there isn't a Capitao, it's still a very risky position to hold, and often that player just ends up being killed at some point, but at least you can waste time, right? But with the Capitao in play, that's one asphyxiating bolt, and if there's no Wamai Magnet to catch it, your life is forfeit almost immediately. And that's been the story of both of these attacking rounds, just the speed with which Vale are able to take control of these necessary power positions. Rafters being one of those examples. Again, it just shows you how you can't really run with the same setups when there are certain operators still in this fight. And I mean, that's what happens when you have the Maverick and the Hibana choice banned. Maybe sometimes you can get a Maverick and a Capitao. Maybe that is the case where you can, get this sort of strategy. Honestly, just spitballing at this point, because it does seem that PDHM can't quite get just the way these operator bans have unfolded, at least under their grasp, at least for now.
Yeah, because, right, I mean, when it comes to attacking Cash, all you really need is Plat Wall open and then either Construction and Rafters, and they've been getting Rafters for free. So it's pretty easy for them to shove their way in, especially with the massive amount of entry picks that Vale has been able to get, and what little response PDHM has had. Unfortunately, Psycho has not made his way back into the lobby just yet. We're still waiting on him. Hopefully we don't have to do a full rehost, and that would suck. I hate having to rehost, and then we'd have to wait for the game even longer. But we can see already, I mean, you guys can't see it, because we're looking at, what is this, a replay? Yeah,
But it's cool.
We're looking at a replay. But PDHM currently have Church Arsenal Room selected. Now, all right, never mind. I was just about to talk about how PDHM had an SSG roam, like, prepped for Church Arsenal. They had Mozzie, Mute, Legion, Vigil, and then Prompted was on Smoke, and he would likely have 6-pick the Castle, because Prompted does play Castle. But they've completely changed. They've now got Maestro, Cade, Smoke, Melusi, and Jaeger. So thinking better of it, we're actually going to turtle back down, and now I've completely lost the point that I was going to use to fill time.
10 seconds left.
Well, this replay is a good use to fill time. We can see Prompted almost clutch again. 2 really good kills. One, onto Frozen right there. That was a good shot, something that Frozen recognized, hitting with a nice shot in chat. And also that 1 kill on the player down below, running into Lounge, taking them out as well. Again, that could have quickly gone the other way had the initial Toxic Canister done that last single bit of HP on Marmalade, and it would have been a 1v1, and the positioning, could not have been as the same for that attacking team. But it, of course, was not the case. It was a 4v1, and Team Vale had that under their belt for sure. But with Church and Arsenal, the anticipated next bomb site, right? It does play out quite a bit differently than CCTV and Cash. You can't get your eyes in the middle of the bomb site in the first 2 seconds of the round as an attacking team, right? There's a lot more in terms of that checklist to go down, and I feel like this could be a good change of pace for PDHM, and we'll see how they can, what kind of defensive approach they do want to take up. You said that they might go with the SSG roam. We are not quite seeing that lineup right now. So maybe we'll just see some light roam. Maybe it'll just be a turtle strategy. But regardless, this is, a bit of a different format of an attack. And so maybe this is where PDHM can find their defensive success.
All right, so Psycho has apparently rejoined the Discord, so hopefully he'll be in soon. You know what? I was reading chat, and our good friend Storms previously played in CAPL on Nordic. Actually, I casted him way back in ESA, also still under Nordic. So shout out to Storms. I forgot Aruni's allowed.
Yeah.
Why don't they play Aruni to counter the Capitao? They could
You're
put it
totally
on
right.
they could put it on the garage window to deny the easy firebolt that Frozen has to deny the bandit trick, because with the shield there, the flame through the drone hole wouldn't work. You wouldn't be able to stun through the drone hole either. You would have to get it through the window. Aruni Gate will stop that, and it's pretty hard to clear, again, if you don't have Platwall open in the first place. So that would be good for PDHM. They'd even put an Aruni Gate on the garage rotate, maybe one on the server window as well, to make sure Frozen can't just rotate and get it from server window.
Yeah.
So that could be definitely an interesting adaptation. Shout out to Storms for that idea in the chat, because of course Wamai is banned. So
Thing is, though,
really all you got.
With the Capitao, you have the smokes as well, and that's one. It takes 1 extra second, to switch. Throw a smoke in, you ruin the Aruni Gate, and you still have the smokes from Marmalade. The Ace is bringing those smokes as well. So I suppose, yes, that could work out. The one risk, of course, that you run is it could immediately be dealt with, and then you've brought Aruni for absolutely no reason. I suppose, the mute in that case could have been switched out for the Aruni, because the mute did not really feel like a super necessary part of that hold. We weren't seeing, a mute and bandit combo on the platform wall. That is also something that you see every once in a while. You put a mute jammer like a little bit further back from the platform wall than would get in the way of a bandit battery, or that would get fried by the electric of the bandit battery, and that allows you to initially resist any quick Selma charges that go down on the wall. And a firebolt is not going to destroy that mute jammer, right? You need to destroy that in some other way, whether that's coming from below, a grenade from the window, something from the drone hole. That is why we see that shield in play as well, because that shield is not just there for the bandit. It's there for the bandit and to hopefully protect a little bit of that utility that does exist. You can't, hit it with one impact from a Zofia or anything like that. It adds one extra element of protection. So that first time around, it was interesting to see the mute in play, but not the mute jammer actually placed on that platform wall. Something that maybe is in the books for PDHM in the future, but they just didn't want to do now, or just one little bit of that defense that they overlooked.
Yeah, now though, we don't have to worry about that. At least not for another 2, because PDHM probably won't go back to that site unless they have to. They'll go down to church, and like I said, they were thinking about an SSG roam, but they've swapped off of it, as Psycho has thankfully rejoined the game. He's been sticking on that Thatcher role, only been able to actually get in the gunfight once. I think did he plant? No, he didn't plant. He was frozen that first round. Exo gets a very early lead-off kill, though. The sub for Vale in place of Afer. Tyler Acts will get cut down over by the strip club. Maybe not enough drone work over there. Got caught off guard by Malusi just kind of being there for no reason, or maybe he did drone it out and he just unfortunately didn't win his fight. But either way, taking the Zofia off very early certainly limits your capability to clear things like the shield, like the shield from the smoke, like the Malusi Banshees, like the Maestro Evil Eyes, stuff like that. So PDHM already in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, those early kills. Now another one coming out, this time from WAV. That is going to be onto Psychosis, and that is your Thatcher off the board. A rather concerning pick, considering that the kitchen hatch is still electrified. Hypers does have 2 nades to work with, so at least that's going to possibly remedy that problem. And there's no electricity, at least right now, on the Moto hatch, and that's exactly what Frozen is going to deal with next, using that secondary hard breach gadget to open that hatch on up. There goes the frag grenade, and that will deal with the Electroclaw. So the kitchen hatch should be able to be opened up. Oh, the impact trick, I'm not entirely sure.
He got it!
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge.
Wow.
That could have just won the round right there if it wasn't won already. A brilliant impact trick from Subarctic, and now Vale, they've really just got to send it on through. Hypers will find a nade onto Raffi. That's a good start, but you're going to have to find more than that. Oh, Frozen's going to get another one. Wav giving away his position. Oh, and now another kill. Exo just sprinting through Church. Marmalade is going to deliver that one, and Vale, out of nowhere, have now taken the advantage. Prompted and Subarctic have to bring this one back. Of course, your Smoke and your Maestro, the perfect operators for this situation, but Vale are gunning, and they're hungry for more.
Wow, positionally and concerning utility, PDHM had this round in the bag, but some pretty aggressive, over-aggressive swings are going to cause them to lose that man advantage, and Marmalade is going to be able to get this plant down. Frozen has hit the floor, so Prompted with one down there, trying to gas out Marmalade, who's already repositioned off the plant. Prompted can't land the shot just yet, as Subarctic is now down and finished off by Hypers playing on the main stairs. A drone will see Prompted pushing up. They know exactly where the smoke is. Frozen should be able to call out any info for his teammate of Marmalade as well. He tells her that Prompted swinging, and that is an easy cleanup for the ace. Vale take round number 3. They have now won 3 straight attacks.
Now that one was the first round that really felt that Vale should not have won it. That was 2 early picks. PDHM a 5v3 advantage, and then they shut down the Selma charges on the kitchen hatch. How do you let that happen, PDHM? I mean, it was simply storming into Moto, the only possible solution for Vale, and it worked. I mean, PDHM, they challenged just a couple too many times on that Moto door. Exo just running through the middle of Church, and Wav was trying to get pretty cheeky with a play over in blue, trying to get some bullet holes going, but because the Moto presence was already there, Frozen was quick to capitalize. An excellent job from Vale to finish that round out, and again, a round that PDHM really should have had from the get-go. If those 2 kills weren't enough, the impact trick on the kitchen hatch should have solidified it, but there wasn't quite enough rotation of that manpower and the focus for PDHM. They probably should have been fully aware that every attacker was coming in through Moto, and I suppose they were, but they had a bit too much confidence. Exo clearly feeling good after that early kill from Exo and that early kill from Wav, but that confidence got the better of PDHM in that situation. Vale taking the round.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Did he swing before?
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
I remember if the ace charge was already going off. Because, I mean, maybe, you know, if he can't deny the ace charge and, like, the wall is getting open, maybe he's like, ah, crap, I just kind of, you know, I'm stuck here. I got to do something. Maybe it's a little bit more understandable. He still lost his fight. Come on, win your ones, Matt. You should have had that. You got the opening pick on Axe. Dude, the fact that the Zofia and the Thatcher were the first ones dead, they impact Kitchen Hatch and still lose the round in a 5v3 like that is just, I mean, that shouldn't happen at all. So hopefully PDHM are going to be able to stop the bleeding. They'll try again on Church. But again, you know, I hate to sound like a broken record. The issue still remains. The best they can probably hope for at this point is a 4-2 with just how good Vale have been attacking Cash.
And 2 rounds on defense is not the way you want to play Clubhouse.
Yeah.
Like, you need 3 rounds. You need 3 rounds minimum usually, and 4 rounds is just a bonus, but not unexpected. This map has, you know, generally been going to that 3-3 territory now that the meta is shifting a bit more attacker-sided. A nice C4 there from Exo, perfectly timed, not only taking down Axe, but removing most of Hyper's HP. That is perfectly done, and Exo is clearly feeling good on these entry picks. This roam game is working out well.
And Axe reaffirming his hatred for Matt. They're very good friends, so I imagine every time Axe gets killed like that, Exo is just laughing, having a good time. So, first kill, again, going to be on the Zofia, and, you know, yet again, just like the last round with a Jaeger, a Smoke with a Shield, Malusi, Maestro, all of those on the board. Every little bit of utility that the defender can take away from you is going to be huge. Yet again, we have Vale trying to push through Moto. Thatcher and the Ace working to open the Church wall, which they'll be able to do successfully. Frozen playing with the LMG again, making sure to cut off any sort of long-haul presence that the defenders try to put onto the attack. And Marmalade, the ace, will get the first pick for her team. Raffi on the Cade will go down. No more C4 from him. And in fact, because of Exo's earlier pick, the only C4 they had left, Exo takes a little bit too aggressive of an angle down on the main stairs, and Frozen pops his head. And now it's a 4v2. 2 kills in a row for Vale. Again, shaping up for a pretty good mid-round into the execute, despite losing the first pick. But here's a flank from Webb going up towards the Moto Hatch. This could be huge, but he needs to make something happen soon as Marmalade takes out a player on the site. Good kill onto the Jaeger, but he cannot string 2 together as Frozen is there for the refrag, and Hypers covers Marmalade perfectly. Vale take round number 4. This defense is just not looking good at all from PDHM.
It is not. It is certainly not, but the attack from Vale, even more so, is looking incredibly strong. I mean, we talk about Clubhouse a lot as a map that you really win this map by coming out strong on your attack. I mean, this is where you make the biggest difference on a map like Clubhouse, because normally, not tonight clearly, but normally defensive rounds come rather easily and relative to attacking rounds, of course, but we're not seeing that at all. That is not the storyline of this Clubhouse with these two, incredibly talented teams going head to head. And it's just Vale proving to be a bit more talented just right now. They clearly have PDHM's number. They are dealing with every single thing that PDHM possibly could throw at them. And what's even more shocking is the fact that a good amount of these entry kills are going in the way of PDHM. And on a map like Clubhouse, on a map that is generally so strat-focused and often so dependent on individual operators from changing up the outcome of a round, entry picks can just be so impactful. And that is quite the opposite of what we're seeing here tonight. PDHM, despite in the last 2 rounds getting at least 1, if not 2 opening picks, they have still managed to lose out the round, Vale taking it regardless. They're going to go back upstairs to CCTV and Cash, and they are going to make a pretty significant change, and I'll argue a pretty positive change. They are going to pull out the Aruni.
They're actually in gym.
Oh, apologies.
They're holding inside of Cash. Like you said, they've got the Aruni to assist. So, I'm definitely happy. I'm wondering where Exo has put his Aruni gate. So there's one on the con door to master. Oh, there's one on the Logi hatch. That's interesting. And there's one... Ooh, where's the last one? We gotta find it. We're on an Easter. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's gonna be on the Logi rotate. Okay. So pretty much trying to completely lock off any construction or Logi pressure from the attack. That is unfortunate for Psychosis. Poor drone work from his team means that Webb, sitting in Oil Pit, as it's sometimes lovingly called the Mr. B spot, will get the entry pick onto Thatcher. Of all the operators that you want to lose first on Vale, it is certainly not him. Unfortunately for Hypers as well, looking through those holes in the con wall, couldn't find Raffi as he made his escape back into Master, so no response yet from Vale.
Bomb located by attackers.
Well, despite this pick, I am not super worried about it, at least for the sake of Vale, because this has been the story, like I've said, of the past few rounds. PDHM still need to be quite disciplined here and not let themselves get overconfident. Raffi is going to be playing below, downstairs in kitchen. I don't see any vertical play coming up through logistics, so not like there's going to be any angle established on the hatch, especially that all the Vale presence is coming from this construction side. Frozen is going to get a free kill on Exo, who's busy staring up at the hatch, and immediately the man advantage is going to be neutralized. We do see that the Logi hatch with that Aruni gate is slowing down this attack just a bit. It's going to give a kill, actually, Raffi. There comes that C4, the vertical play that was mentioned earlier in kitchen will net the kill onto Frozen. That's a good start again for PDHM, but quickly answered back by Hypers. A good swing there onto the main stairs, getting another kill, and now pretty much with control of this bomb site. You've got Marmalade. She is in the middle of the bedroom, being tased constantly by those evil eyes, and Subarctic is playing below. Doesn't matter in the case of Prompt that he's going to get one, but Hypers storms through the wall and picks up Prompt, and what in the world? Hypers is going to be alone in a 1v2, though, as Subarctic and Wab are the remaining 2 defenders to clutch this one up. Hypers has the bomb site, and actually has the bomb, so that will be planted on down, and I don't believe there was enough time to actually rotate around to stop that plant, but regardless, Hypers is going to play it a bit safe and now forced to find these frags instead of going for this plant. Once this noise is really heard, we're going to have Subarctic go for the swing. That will be the case, although missing the first few shots, Subarctic is not going to miss any more. PDHM, they'll take their first defensive round.
Much better defensive play from them, starting off with the first, entry pick from PDHM that actually turns into a successful round from WAV onto Psycho, who has yet again, unfortunately, dropped from the lobby. And leading into the later half of that round, I don't know why Exo was staring at the ceiling. That was a little bit weird. But luckily, he had that C4 presence from below, thanks to Raffi, to again keep his team in the one-man advantage. Now, Hypers making a gigantic play, moving through on the main stairs, killing the Malusi, and being able to just Kool-Aid man his way through the bathroom wall to find the back of the Maestro. But unfortunately, it was too late. It was already after both of his remaining teammates had been picked off by WAV and prompted, respectively. And from there, barely any time. One player con, one player by the master door. I mean, there's just no way he's going to be able to get that plant down and flick to 2 different angles at the same time. So really well played by PDHM. I'm glad, we saw them not overextend themselves in that 1v2 and not just peek right into the sledge, waiting until they started to commit. Because, Hypers, as we know, is good enough to be able to hit those shots if they just kept taking ones. So PDHM finally with a round, but I'm wondering, it's after they give up 4 straight. I hope it's not too little too late.
Yeah, I'm also hopeful of the same thing. I mean, PDHM, that was the first time where we've really seen that adjustment, right? Every other previous situation like that, it has really just been a case of swing everything and win these gunfights when we have the advantage. Like you mentioned, Crow, in that 2v1, that was the really first big adjustment that I think PDHM are realizing that they need to start making. Things have just not been going their way, despite, clearly showing a little bit of that confidence. That time, it was a lot smarter to play a bit more passively. Like we were talking about a moment ago, Hypers getting that diffuser down, was careful not to, stick that diffuser and keep his face in the ground for too long, although the timing of that could have worked out perfectly. You had both those remaining defenders off the bomb site. Subarctic was still in bar. It would have been borderline. It would have been borderline to get that plant off. Hypers just was also choosing to play it safe and was hoping that PDHM would continue some of those mistakes they were making earlier. But finally, we saw them make an adjustment. It's unfortunate, though, for them. It just took until they finally went to the tertiary bomb site of gym and bedroom to actually make those adjustments.
Yeah, if anything, we can be glad that they finally took a defense. But they have cash selected. And that's a little bit worrying. They're not bringing the Aruni. They are swapping off the Mute onto a Valkyrie, though, from Exo. So you've got 3 C4s to play with. You've still got the smoke. You'll probably still have that shield protecting the Bandit. Oh. There's no Capitao, though. Frozen is on Dokkaebi. I wonder if that's just to, ensure that when they make their way into the building, they're not going to get caught off guard by some weird position from PDHM. You let the call go and you pretty much just know if there's anyone right next to you. So I guess that's a good adaptation from Frozen, but I don't know if it's worth losing the Capitao, especially with how easily you've been able to take these cash rounds because of the Capitao's utility. So I don't know. We'll have to see if it plays out, or we'll have to see if he just ends up 6th picking it anyway after seeing the lineup from PDHM. Because if you see this lineup, you're probably, there's a Bandit. They're going to be playing upstairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, Psycho has yet again disconnected and is not there yet.
No, but I do think that the Dokkaebi would be an interesting and odd decision, to say the least. The Capitao has been, along with the Ace, that duo has been the single strongest, most important operators of that bomb site, and it's worked perfectly, clinically, every single time. It would be a pretty weird choice to go with, to remove the Capitao from this core lineup. Maybe Psychosis is going to come back and not going to run the Thatcher and is going to run the Capitao instead. But don't know if that would be the best bet overall. This could be Vale just feeling good, looking to get that 5th round in just the most BM way possible by just kind of running in there with the Dokkaebi to assist them. Who really knows? We can't really assume that much. you know, for PDHM going forward in this one, again, with this time we have to kill, I don't know what they can do, Crow. I don't know what they can bring out on attack. I mean, clearly they have to bring out quite a bit on attack, given that they're at the very least going to be down 4-2, if not 5-1. But God, that is not something that you can do quite easily.
Yeah, so hopefully, you know, again, hopefully PDHM have something figured out. I'm kind of worried going into their attacks, just because again, it's harder. It's, of course, you know, harder to attack Clubhouse than it is to defend it. I mean, maybe PDHM are an attacking team. They did seem pretty confident on their attacks on Coastline, if I remember, against Honor. I think it was their defenses that were falling short. I don't really remember, if I'm perfectly honest. Hopefully, I mean, because it's, again, one of the, you know, the overarching themes that we've seen from PDHM is just peaking and not winning their one, compounded by really good utility usage from Vale. So if we go on to the attack, Vale are still really good for their, or if we go on to PDHM's attack and Vale is still really good with their utility on the defense, and PDHM still play like the 1-for-1s with not a lot of trade potential and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't have much hope for them. So hopefully they show us on, you know, on round 7. We still got one defensive round to go to. And Psycho is still not here.
Well, I want to know, Crow, you've had quite a good food selection on stream. You've had some tortellini.
Yep.
You've had some fried chicken.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything in store for us tonight?
I still have fried chicken.
Oh.
Are you right here? No,
That's awesome.
He's fell off.
We're looking at a replay right now, so we can't see your beautiful fried chicken, unfortunately.
Oh.
But
Man. At least we have something on the screen.
yeah, no, we've got this Kool-Aid man storming through the bathroom play from Hypers. That was, again,
was
perplexing.
Really
perplexing to witness, but unfortunately it wasn't enough to win out the round. Again, we can see this back and forth little battle of who's gonna... Yeah, no, I think he could have stuck the plant. I really do. I think he could have stuck that plant. What, 7 seconds?
Probably.
I don't know. Maybe Savardo could have got there in time. Wab certainly couldn't have gotten there. But,
Hypers probably just thought they were way closer to the site than they actually were.
I mean, they should have been closer.
Yeah, which is understandable, right? Because they should have been. And again, you know, we just see from the replay, PDHM, very, very cautious, not wanting to give away any free picks to Hypers. Because after all, Hypers is French. Peaking Frenchies is sometimes very scary. So, Psycho's still not here. Man, what else do you want to do?
I don't know. I'm looking around for something, but I got nothing but a gigantic water bottle. Highly recommend getting a nice massive jug.
I'm out of water, man. Well, I will.
Well, that's why you need a big one, like a really, really massive jug. Cute.
Oh, he's back!
Hey!
Psycho's back!
Hallelujah.
Oh, thank Christ.
Would have just sat here in
He got-
silence for the next 10 minutes.
You got Jackal. Ooh. I wonder if they're gonna stick the Jackal. The Jackal and Dokumi. Nope. He's off Jackal, probably on a Thatcher. Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yep. Alright, 6ing on a Thatcher. So, I assume both teams will be R soon. R from PDHM. We just need an R from Vale.
But you know what this means?
It means we get
the
to watch
Dokumi-
the game again.
No, it means the Dokumi is
Okay.
in the game. It also means we get to watch the game again, which is quite refreshing. But the Dokumi is in play, right? Frozen, whether by choice or whether by simply the case of Psycho disconnecting, is going to have to stick the Dokumi. Of course, you got the nades, a lot of utility you can use there. You got 4 nades now that you've got Hypers on the sledge, as always. But the one thing you're missing which could completely derail this attack, is the Capital. Because Subarctic is once again on the Bandit, we can assume there's going to be an active Bandit trick. And you've got those ADSs to deal with a couple of those nades that roll on through that drone hole.
5 seconds remaining.
We're gonna see how this Valkyrie plays out.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Whether or not Exo is gonna be staking more in lounge, or maybe over inside of master. He's going for a spawn peek. I doubt he'll get anything off of it though, with how Vale are moving out of their spawn. So that's a moot point. Wav is still downstairs. Wav has been pretty unsuccessful on this downstairs roam, unfortunately. It seems like every time he tries to move in, he's killed by the people taking into rafters that he's meant to stop. And Rafty just needs to stop dying in 30 seconds once Vale even just look at the room. But like you said, Capital not on the board for Vale is a pretty big deal because, like you said, active Bandit trick. And now, the Dokkaebi that Vale had picked up as a change to their attack will not be available. Wav takes him out on the roam. Down goes Frozen, but you do get the wall open relatively easily, thanks to, I believe, a nade from below that Subarctic does not want to get hit by again. So you lose your Dokkaebi, but you don't necessarily need that fifth operator, Dokkaebi or Capital, to open that wall.
Yeah, what PDHM are doing here is they're not really bothering to force the Bandit trick. And often that is quite a viable strategy. It's a dangerous thing and requires a lot of utility to be utilized in Lounge, a lot of manpower to be put there. You need to contest Lounge as a defending team if you want to realistically aim to have the wall stay reinforced for at least the majority of the round, and that's not something PDHM are doing here. And again, it's not something that matters. Wab is just going to be fragging out. A nice swing there onto main stairs, getting Hypers caught in a crossfire, and Subarctic is going to secure another kill. That's going to leave Axe and Psycho all alone in this one, and this one is definitely a situation that PDHM have in their grasp. This isn't a 3v5 that they should throw, it's a 2v5 that should really be quite easy to handle. Rappy's gonna make that certain, lining up a double kill onto both Psycho and Axe, and a flawless round will be delivered from PDHM. The long break seems to have helped them out a bit.
Finally, they're able to take a cash defense. Third time was the charm, and it started off with a two-piece from Wav to really open things up, taking out Frozen over by, I believe, the strip billiard side of the map. Hypers trying to find the refrag, seeing the Bandit, unfortunately not aware that Wav was just chilling in the Logi doorway, so it's an easy two-piece for your Jaeger. Subarctic finds another one elsewhere, maybe jumping into construction. I'm not quite sure where he got that kill. And then, unfortunately for Vale, they're left in a 2 versus 5. They try to storm into garage, and they can't do anything. So that was a really good adjustment from PDHM. The adjustment just kind of being that Wav killed more people. Now going on to the attack, we see a little bit of a shakeup. PDHM playing not a drastically different lineup, but instead of the Capital, they're instead going to double up on their hard breach.
Yeah, seeing this come out here is interesting because how good is a doubled hard breach here, right? You can come in from the cache side now. You can apply easy pressure from both the platform wall and from the con wall. So that's something. But you've got to remember that Capital has a secondary hard breach chart, and that can be utilized anywhere you want. That can be put on the cache to con wall, even though that's not generally the best solution for actually executing on cache. Or you can just place that on the garage walls, which is something we've seen time and time again in this particular series. I assume that Exo is probably going to use those thermite charges on the garage, and Ralphie's going to focus on the platform wall or the other way around. It is a good dynamic to bring, especially when you don't have the Habana, but again, I love to see Capital in play, and it's just not something we're seeing. They're going to have to figure out a way to counter the pretty aggressive bandit tricking I assume we're going to get from Frozen, who is right now juggling those bandit batteries. We do see Hypers going for something of a cheeky run out on the strip side, a very common run out onto the player looking to pressure in garage, and as we can see, Rafter has Raffi, excuse me, has already opened up that angle, which can see the rafters window and could potentially, if there was a Capitao in play, launch an asphyxiating bolt onto the platform wall, but that is not the case here. It was simply a battle of EMP grenades with the bandit batteries, and a battle that those EMP grenades did win out. Frozen not able to get it down in time, the wall now opened wide.
Compounded by the fact, of course, it wasn't just the EMPs, it was also the stun lock from the Zofia. Bandit wasn't playing with a shield, so there was really nothing to stop Wav from just stun locking him and preventing the bandit trick as a whole. But Axe will get the lead-off kill. Raffi goes down, but Wav is there for the very quick trade. You lose your ace, though. And I think I agree with you. The play was most likely to open up Con, but they're going to try and adjust. They're going to open up bottom garage using Exo's second exothermic charge. So at least one hard breacher is left unabated after they lose the ace. They do have nobody in top rafters that they need to deal with, though. So they'll be able to move in with relative ease. All they have to worry about is this player below them. Valkyrie of Hypers that we mentioned earlier, and never mind, they no longer have to worry about the Valkyrie of Hypers. Subarctic quick to fell that downstairs presence, and the C4 from below that was threatening any push in by the server rack in the default plant spot. Exo finally takes full control of the garage and of rafters, followed very closely by Prompted. They cannot yet get in for free. I'll have to try and, I guess, breaching charge the garage wall to try and get in. It's locked off by Vale. He'll be able to successfully breach it, and there you go. Now you've got the avenue to the default plant. 40 seconds left, but Vale still have 2 C4s in pocket that Exo's going to have to deal with.
Yeah, they're going to likely tease a plan, or at least go for a plant right now. Yep, there goes Exo, sticking that one now. But here comes the first C4, ripped and tossed, but successfully baited, and that's not going to get to the other side of the rack. Exo gets stuck in the rotate, and Psycho gets the kill. That's pretty massive, but now another plant's going down, and the C4 is simply off the mark. Prompted dodging that one precariously, but there's very little coverage here, and here comes the absolute swing. Wav is there, though. He'll get one, but Psychosis will secure one onto Prompted. The plant not able to go down in time, and the clock will simply expire. Vale will win the round on time, a round where PDHM, their attack just kind of floundered in those last few moments, and I've got to suspect that the rotation hole was to blame.
Yeah, Exo not being able to get away. He goes down, and there are some pretty large implications going into the rest of the round. So you lose a man, you lose your primary planter, and that means Prompted has to now move in and try and cover for it. Unfortunately, Prompted was your man in rafters, making sure no one just pushes into the garage or through the cache doorway, right? That's his job. He now has to go plant, meaning that he's planting with no one in garage to support him and only Wav on plat wall. Vale can take advantage of their numbers. You saw like 2 or 3 people sprint by. Wav can only shoot at so many people. Sure, he gets 1 kill, but the Malusi slips by, denies plant, and the last 2 attackers just aren't in range. I think Subarctic was below during that whole scuffle, making sure that there was no C4 inside of Lounge. That would have been a great attack, a great setup, really good positioning all around. Just that bugged rotate killing Exo caused everything to fall one by one, like a domino effect, and all those positions just became irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean, the coverage was there right on the platform wall from Wav, and that was good, but, you know, with that early kill, like you mentioned, and just the triple swing and the just force that Vale threw at the problem, even though the coverage was there, the time was not. There was no time to get another player into the bomb site to get the bomb down, even if every single swinging defender could have been cut down anyway. There was simply not enough time remaining, something that happens when your main attacking strategy is to just kind of brute force your way in. I mean, PDHM did that, and they did it very successfully. There wasn't much of a kerfuffle on the platform wall. They got the bandit dealt with. They got the rafters presence dealt with. They got really good angles onto the bomb site, but when it came to just sending it on in, the rotate combined with just the time not being there and the good use of C4s coming out from Vale, that was enough to shut down that attack and to give Vale now a 3-round edge.
Speaking of C4s, Hypers will go up fall upon deaf ears as the Moto hatch is opened. Vale definitely playing a lot more passively than PDHM were. PDHM were on this site. We saw opening engagements and opening kills like what, like a minute, 30 seconds into the round, something like that. And as I talk about how slow it's been, Psychosis blows subarctic sky high. Down goes your sledge inside of kitchen. That was a pre-placed nitro cell from the Malusi. Likely a good call from one of his teammates to let it blow up. Now you've lost a huge part of your attack. Sledge now dead, meaning that kitchen is going to be a lot harder to open, or at least it'll be harder to force any defenders outside of back arsenal. You also lost a good set of nades. Now, of course, there's no Maestro, there's no smoke shield, so there's less utility for PDHM to clear, and they do have a Zof and a Thatcher. But, you know, the nades always certainly help. Now, Exo is already just going to rotate down. It looks like they're just going to ignore the kitchen hatch and try to open that church wall.
Yeah, it seems like a blue church moto-sided take could be in order. WAV yet to actually step foot into blue and pressure on the generator player, but with Prompted just getting a free kill onto Axe, who wasn't aware of that moto player, that'll make the blue push even easier. Marmalade will find a quick response. She'll get the kill onto Prompted to give PDHM, or to give Vale rather, a bit more of a fighting chance. But of course, Exo with that kill will neutralize the advantage. Bit of a standoff here around this blue rotate, but Hyper just goes for the crouch swing and gets the kill, and now a double actually trading out with Raffi, and Frozen will secure the final kill onto Exo. Vale will take the round.
Great defense there from Vale, killing that sledge, denying that kitchen pressure, and responding to the adjustment from PDHM accordingly. It looked like we were going to see that nice blue Moto pinch come out. Marmalade gets aggressive, though, takes out one of those players inside of Moto, and as WAV moves down through blue to try and get the crossfire into Church, he just has absolutely no clue Hypers is right on the other side of the wall. Down goes your Zof. You're pretty much left in a one-dimensional attack. You're all coming from the same angle if you're PDHM. Vale shut that down pretty easily. So PDHM, again, have not looked confident on their attacks. Their trades haven't been on point. Their utility usage has been pretty good. They haven't been able to trade each other out effectively. The one time we actually saw an execute, it went Ari, and now they're facing down the barrel of a 2-6 deficit. They have to win 4 in a row just to bring us to OT and secure a single point.
And normally this is... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know how possible it is against a Vale that's looking this good.
Yeah. I mean, normally this is a scoreline that you would see when the team that's down, like PDHM is, it's now their defensive half, right? And this is usually the time where we say, you know what, it's a brutal comeback, but they're on the defense. They can absolutely do it. That is not the case here. PDHM are now on the attacking side, and they really have their work cut out for them. Vale are locking this down pretty well, and I just don't know if PDHM can win 4 rounds in a row here. My prediction, PDHM not looking too good this week. Kuro, you predicted the tie, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe that 0% streak could end today if PDHM are able to come back on our second map in style.
I hope.
Oh, okay.
I want to remain incorrect. I feel like a really low percentage looks worse than no percentage at all. So
I agree.
Hopefully, if Vale win this map, they just wipe the floor with PDHM on Oregon, so that my prediction stays intact. Vale are now going on to Gym. They're going to complete this they're going to attempt to complete the perfect site rotation. I mean, again, even if they lose this, Cash opens back up. Even if they lose Cash, Church opens back up, etc. Again, I don't know how possible this is for PDHM. PDHM are the ones that called for this timeout, so I think it's over. Longer tactical timeouts. A minute?
Should be like 2. 2?
I think they're over. Raffi just said R, so we're just waiting for an R from Vale. Currently, Psycho is AFK. So
shocker.
Of course, Psycho's AFK. We gotta wait for Psycho to get back. We can get back in the game, and I imagine the game will probably end pretty soon.
Yeah, I will go with the 100% agree on that one. Even if this round, even if PDHM just find their gym success, they attacked gym successfully, and they defended gym successfully. Now it comes down to attacking gym successfully. Maybe this is their bomb site, right? But they need to make that happen right now because it's match point. It is their last chance to get this comeback going. Really, the story of this matchup, Crow, I think you said it perfectly at the beginning of the night where you said, we will see some pretty good siege, but it's likely that the super methodical strat-focused nature of this map could be a little bit overshadowed by the just brute force frag heavy kind of style. And I think that was absolutely right. What we've seen is a lot of like 75% cohesive strategies, right? What comes to mind are the bandit tricking with the mute in play and the shield on the wall on that CCTV and cache site, right? That was, I would argue, 75% of the way there. You've done generally all of your steps for that hold, but there were a couple of critical things that were missing, a couple of things that could have happened later in the round that you see, that I expect we'll see when these two teams, start off the Challenger League season. But for now, I think they're really focused on just throwing it down, focused on getting that team coordination going. And so far, that coordination and the vibes clearly a little bit flowing better for Vale, at least right now.
So, Vale looking like they want to put a hell of a lot of stock into their cache hold, even going as far as to bandit trick the plat wall. There's even an Aruni gate on the Red Hall doorway. Unfortunately for Frozen, he will be unable to deny that, so that's Exo's first exothermic charge going off. Cache wall now, or server wall now open. But that's only one layer. You still got another to peel through. Frozen is now positioned inside of cache. He's got some full reinforcements, and Exo is actually going to use his second exothermic charge on the garage wall, interestingly enough, to make sure that WAV can cover this con door, make sure that if any of those Vale players try to rotate back, they'll be caught by WAV's trap. Bandit will swing out aggressively, not be able to find it. Psychosis gets the kill on the Subarctic, and that causes Subarctic to drop his nade, and it cooks right at Raffi's feet. 2 for the price of 1, and PDHM already at a pretty heavy disadvantage.
Yeah, that was not the way they wanted to start their comeback run. It is looking increasingly like a Vale Clubhouse here. PDHM have yet to clear out this cache extension. Hell, they haven't even cleared out Psycho from the top of red stairs. And the 416 in hand, Psycho is just going to fry Exo and fry another. Now getting down WAV, that is a triple kill, and Frozen will finish it off. Vale take round number 9, and they waste not a single extra minute in finishing out Clubhouse. They will secure the 3 points, the full decisive win point allocation on map number 1.
That was a pretty damn dominant map from Vale. It seemed like, except for those last 2 defensive rounds, everything PDHM tried to do, Vale were ready for and answered in kind. 11-5 for Hypers, 10-4 for Frozen. Definitely a much better performance from Frozen than we saw in the previous week. And Vale take their own map pick. 7-2. Again, pretty freaking dominant. Again, all in all, that was just Vale hard countering PDHM at every turn and doing things, I don't want to say perfectly, but pretty close to it.
Yeah, I totally agree. They just simply outplayed PDHM at every turn. It seemed that every defensive strategy that PDHM brought out, and the half where I think Vale really made their biggest impact, was their attacking half. Every defensive strategy that PDHM could cook up, there weren't, that many, but there were several different variations of the CCTV hold, a couple variations of the Church and Arsenal hold. There was just nothing that they could do that could really click and that could really get the better of Vale. Only winning the gym defense, only winning their third and final cache defense on a round, mind you, where Vale were forced to discard the Capitao, bringing the Dokkaebi instead because you have the disconnect and you had to waste your 6 pick on your player who got back in the lobby. So maybe that was the plan. Maybe Vale wanted to bring the Dokkaebi all along, but you have to suspect that that round could have gone the other way, and this could have been a 7-1 had Vale maybe not had the disconnect issues with Psycho.
There was also, plenty of rounds where, if just one PDHM member wins a fight at a crucial point in the round, it could have, swung a different way. And I mean, we see that all the time in Siege as a whole. We saw that a lot in this match as well. Hopefully PDHM do better on Oregon. Oregon, again, tends to be a pretty linear map, and it is one that I know for a fact PDHM are very comfortable on. Hopefully in Oregon's a closer contest. If there's any map that PDHM are going to try to go to tie up a series like this, it's going to be Oregon. I think last time we saw them play Oregon was, I want to say in the qualifier, and I think it was against Vale, and they beat them it was 7-3 or something pretty dominant. So
check that VOD. Get a little gander.
Yeah, I don't know who casted it. Actually, wait. I think I casted it. So I remember Exo getting roam kills as Malusi. Yeah, so PDHM is a map that we've seen them on before. Clubhouse was kind of unfamiliar territory, at least for me, regarding PDHM. I expect the closer map to at least be closer.
The closer map to be closer. That is good. That is good to hear. The good thing is we've got stats to show you. We can take a look at the exact breakdown of this one, and yikes, PDHM not putting up the best numbers, but I think we all expected that. WAV still maintaining that positive rating, a 1.18, not bad there, and still going positive on the entry, as did Exo, but for the most part, it was a series dominated across the board by Vale. Hyper's Frozen Marmalade, 1.2 and above a rating. I mean, just incredible performance there. Everyone really performing well on the Vale side. 77% cost for both Hypers and Frozen, both +6 on the KD. Just hard to do much about that if you're PDHM, who just could not put up the same things. Honestly, Frozen stuck out the most to me, not just because of their performance, but the Capitao, an operator very near and dear to my heart, as I'm sure you all have noticed. It really was just so crucial, those Capitao plays. Great to see that operator utilized, and Frozen did such a great job at that.
Yeah, again, PDHM not playing the Capitao, I think, was definitely to the detriment. Not quite sure why they were taking the double hard breach, but, didn't work. And of course, we always say Siege is not a game about kills, but if you've only got one player going positive, it's going to be pretty damn hard for you to win a map. Just all around, like you said, a better performance from the players of Vale. And hopefully we see more from PDHM on Oregon. I expect, or at least I would hope to expect, that people like Exo and Raffi step up on Oregon. They tend to be driving forces for the team. WAV was already doing pretty well. Prompted, you don't really expect to be at the top of the score because he's usually on hard support. Actually, Subarctic as well. Subarctic tends to play the Ashe. I think they've swapped roles a little bit, I guess, because he was mainly on the Sledge, which Exo was usually playing back in the qualifier. So maybe this weaker PDHM is still them trying to figure out their roles as well. That could definitely be a contributing factor, but we're gonna have to wait till after this break to see map number 2. Again, it will be Oregon. Map 1 already done and dusted, 7-2 going the way of Vale. So we will see you again after 5 minutes. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to PDHM versus Vale, the first game of the night. If you missed Clubhouse, as you can see by the graphic below us, it was 7-2 in favor of Vale, a pretty dominant contest on Vale's map pick. Now we move over to PDHM's Oregon, which hopefully will be a hell of a lot closer.
Yeah, I'm hoping this one gets a bit spicier, maybe goes down to the wire, maybe even PDHM have it in them to come back and take the tie for the night and secure 3 points of their own as well, because with that decisive victory, not only decisive in the technical term, not seeing overtime, but 7-2 is a very decisive way to win out the map. Vale have already secured 3 points, their first 3 points so far this season. So they've found the scoreboard and should jump up a few points after this week, regardless of the second match outcome. Now, PDHM, they'll be looking to neutralize this advantage, or at least secure some points of their own. To remind you, 2 points can be secured by winning an overtime, and even if you lose the match, 1 point can be secured if you force your opponent into overtime, even again if you lose out there. We do have infinite overtime here in SCS, so if these two teams can keep it competitive, maybe we'll see this one go even longer than the 15 rounds, but I think for PDHM's sake, they're going to have to start off strong very early, just given the absolute momentum and the dominant force that Vale have shown so far.
Yeah, PDHM, of course, have not gotten any points this season so far, so a win on Oregon would be more than ideal. This is actually Vale's first 3 points as well after they went down 2-0 to Neo in the last week. You know, again, if I'm PDHM, I definitely want to focus on playing more together. On Clubhouse, they were getting kind of picked off one by one. There was a lot of people taking just like 50-50 gunfights, just taking ones, losing them. Their executes were a little bit iffy. Vale battled them back really well. A lot of positions that Vale were playing too were down on the site were just completely unknown to PDHM, so they were getting caught out a lot by that. I'm interested to see how the role changes shape up on Oregon, because again, last time we saw Oregon was in the qualifier. PDHM have swapped around roles since then. I think who is it? Typically it's Raffi and Subarctic on the entry, I believe. Exo has kind of been moved more to Raffi and Wav on the entry, Subarctic on the flex soft breach, and then Exo has been moved kind of more to a support role, more to maybe flank watch on Oregon, because again, you don't really see a lot of flank watch on Clubhouse, so Oregon will differ in that sense. Prompted likely on the still sticking the hard support. So Oregon's definitely going to be interesting. But with the way Vale played it, I mean, again, I've said that PDHM are confident on Oregon. That was before the role swaps. I just hope they don't go down as atrociously as they did on map 1.
Yeah, I think it'll be good to see how that can shake up here. We can take another look at our predictions, and I can remind myself of my failure, no longer getting it right this week. PDHM not going to secure this one, at least as decisively as they would have liked. The tie is still possible, though. So, Crow, your prediction could indeed come to fruition. And McCready, even though that is not McCready pictured, that prediction could be right as well. Vale could take this series in a clean 2-0. I'm curious to see how it is going to unfold. We're still waiting. No, we're actually getting right on into it. We finally got Psycho up in this lobby, which is something that Psycho has been unable to do for the majority of the night so far. So that is pretty good to see. Now, as we head into Oregon and we take a look at our bans here, we're probably going to see the usual stuff. Your Thatcher likely to be banned, even though we did not see the Thatcher ban on Clubhouse. There it is. The Thatcher, first operator off the board. Not a shocker, but the first time we've seen the Thatcher ban tonight, so at least that's something.
Yeah, at least we got to see Thatcher on Club. Not on Oregon, though. Mav? Cap? Hibana. Okay. That's interesting. Hibana's not usually the hard breach ban on Oregon. It's a little bit interesting. So we'll have Maverick still up. We'll have Ace still on the board. I wonder why they banned Hibana. I'm trying to think.
There's really not much of a reason to do so. I mean, you've got the only hatch that's relevant is the E-box hatch on the basement attack, because the other hatches are usually left unreinforced so the defenders can rotate away when you're playing on one of those tertiary bomb sites. And if Maverick is still in play, then nobody plays Hibana anyway. And Kate is banned, so I suppose that's a thing. But again, the Hibana ban is one of those more curious bans. Generally, we see the Ace or the Maverick, the bans on Clubhouse. But the Mirror ban and the Cade ban, those are pretty stock standard stuff.
Yeah, of course, you just don't want to leave Kate up with Thatcher banned. Mira is pretty good on Oregon. All right, at exo_R6 on Twitter. Laundry Room is going to be the first defense from Vale. Is Frozen going to stick that?
Is this the first time?
Oh, he did. Oh.
This will be the first.
No, he's trolling us.
No?
He's trolling us.
Don't troll us. Keep it.
No, he's
there.
not
Keep
trolling
it.
us?
Keep it. Keep it. Let's go,
We
dude.
have a Chonka for the first time since the season has started. We finally get to see the rework in a competitive setting and leave it to Frozen to be the one to bring it out. If you all remember when the Chonka rework first came out on the test server, you guys remember all those like crazy angles that you could fire them up through like hatches? Like you'd fire one through the Logi hatch, you got Platwall and Club. There were a whole bunch of crazy angles, and one of the men who was responsible for finding a lot of those was Frozen, back when he was the coach of Beast Coast in Challenger League. He's got a whole bunch of videos on YouTube that are like really, really neat, like tips and tricks for Siege that not a lot of people know about. Maybe that are kind of, you know, somewhat useful in comp. Some of them aren't. They'll definitely be, you know, they definitely allow you to rat out in ranked. So I'm really, really interested to see how Frozen plays with the Tachanka. The gun isn't great, you know, granted, but he's got that Shumiko launcher. And I wonder, is he gonna play elbow?
This could be fun.
Kind of like a pseudo smoke?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Subarctic is just going to immediately kill Hypers, and Prompted is on Ash? Wow, they have really swapped up roles. Okay, Raffi is on Thermite, Subarctic is on Flank Watch, and Prompted is on Ash. That is odd.
Yeah, really going with the grab bag mix and match strategy here, PDHM. And on the side of Vale, I mean, they're kind of going for a similar thing as well. You're bringing a Tachanka and you're throwing away one of the few operators that you'd like to keep towards the end of the round to allow more of those magnets to actually come into play. But Hyper's no interest in doing so, choosing to throw away his life on the tower run out instead. So Vale already have a good bit of an edge. They've got... Excuse me, PDHM have a good bit of an edge. I'm used to saying Vale, but PDHM, they find themselves with an early entry frag, per se. It's now frags onto the drones, the focus for Frozen, as the onslaught now pours in from this bunker side. We've got 2 players outside of bunker 2, and the rest are working their way in on this vertical play. Psycho's just gonna continue to peek this angle, and he'll get the kill onto Barrels. Now looking for a second, this one onto Prompted, but not quite able to secure that kill, but seems to be eager to just keep dancing with the devil here. Prompted looking to let that R4C shine.
That is Subarctic dead too, and with the way he was, or with where he was playing, I don't know if he's set up all his air jabs inside of tower and meeting to prevent that flank. Finally see the Shumiko launcher come out from the Chonka of Frozen. He's shooting it onto the tower stairs. But unfortunately, because of the bank, it will actually bounce down and not stop that person from peeking the top. Another kill goes the way of Vale, but there's 2 quick refrags from Exo and Prompted, and unfortunately, we're not going to be able to see much from the Tachanka. Axe rotates back in from Freezer to join Marmalade, but Marmalade goes down in the site. It's just the smoke of Axe. The sub try and clutch up a 1 versus 3. 35 seconds remaining. Good flick on the Prompted inside of Elbow. Retakes that control. Try maybe flanking around towards Barrels as Exo starts going for the plant. He'll try and clip the smoke through the shelf. Won't shove Exo off just yet. He'll continue to get this down. It's a post plant now for the smoke. 2 players left. Make that just 1 as Exo goes down. Oh my god, Act might be able to do this, but he's very low on HP. Wav moves down the tower stairs. He'll place himself inside a pillar. He gets dealt some damage. Axe is starting to swing around. Wav has absolutely no intel. The shotgun from long range, though, it's just a little bit too far. Only does some chip damage to Wav. And PDHM, though it nearly slipped through their fingers, are able to take round number 1.
Well, a round that they should have won, and good to see that they won one of those rounds. They had a free kill onto Hypers, they were dealing with a Tachanka, but the Shimika launcher really never came into effect at all. Frozen was not able to, whether the intent was to just hide in the closet like a smoke would and play for the post plant or play for the plant denial. That wasn't the strategy from Frozen. It was instead, how do I frag out as Tachanka, and a strategy that with a massive and not super mobile LMG in your pocket, a strategy that's not going to work out generally at the end of the day. A good effort though, and it's great to see Tachanka come out, but I think that Frozen has had enough of the tomfoolery and is now pulling out another equally powerful LMG, or more powerful LMG, the Alda, now bringing out the Maestro, using a bit more of that expected utility, but for the sake of the rest of this lineup, it is pretty much your standard basement hold. We're not going to see the Goyo, so we're not going to see, a super heavy utility consumption simulator meta, but we do have the doubling up of the Wamai and the Jaeger to just provide so much annoyance when it comes to just throwing that utility down.
10 seconds remaining.
Kind of sad that we don't actually get to see what Frozen's intention with the Tachanka was, because, he just kind of died.
Moving out to locate a bomb and defuse.
Maybe he'll pull it out later again. We can hope. Might be false hope, but we can hope. Hopefully Hypers doesn't go down on an early spawn peek to Subarctic once again. His utility is very much needed to keep control of Elbow. But strangely enough, that's not really something PDHM were too challenged with. They just kind of put all their eggs over towards Tower and over towards E-Box and Pillar. And the Chanka rotated out of Elbow himself and died in the site, giving pretty much just free elbow pressure to PDHM, and no pocket reinforcement came out from Vale either. So, I doubt Vale are going to make that same mistake, though, because, of course, Wamai is not dead. They got Maestro. They don't have Chanka. Axe will probably be playing in that position. And that's going to be something that PDHM will definitely have to deal with. Hyper starts to move in towards Pillar. He and Psychosis duoing to try and hold off Bunker for as long as possible.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, the whole just coming through from Vale, just trying to lock down this as long as they can. You've got Hypers just playing in Pillar. Someone called this Shaiko spot, but it's not the Jaeger, it's instead the Wamai, and you've got the Jaeger Psycho playing over on this close doorway, just again swinging back and forth onto the 3 players pushing in this bunker side. Prompted again on the Ash, pressuring down the tower stairs, has yet to find much but an impact to the face, losing out about 25 HP for that. Nothing too brutal, but without a teammate to support them, and without now the nades from Exo in play, this take is going to get ever more challenging. Frozen is going to line up another, this time taking down Prompted. Raffi will find an answer for that one, removing Marmalade, but I'm not sure if that's enough. Marmalade's not happy about that one, clearly, and I think PDHM aren't too happy about the way this one is unfolding. It's a 3v4. They've yet to deal with these Pillars' pressure, and so the entire focus of this attack, taking control of Pillars and working your way in from this north side, seems to be relatively forfeit now, and WAV is going to make that pretty certain as the rotation around in the freezer side is going to come through. A challenge onto Hypers, and a player that we couldn't even see is going to line up the headshot onto WAB and make this one even harder for PDHM to get their execute going.
It was just Raffi and Subarctic in a 2 versus 4, your 2 supports to try and clutch up and make that just 1, as Subarctic falls to the elbow player of Axe. He tries to push up even more aggressively, and he connects the second as well. Big play from the sub, and Vale take their second defense in a row. Oh no, sorry, I forgot PDHM won the first round. They take their first defense. I'm so used to Clubhouse and Vale just stringing all their rounds together. That time PDHM just wasn't given free picks, and that's kind of all there was to that round. Vale didn't walk into them and throw their lives away. Thus, PDHM had to actually do work, and when the time came, they dropped the ball.
Sometimes it happens like that. Sometimes it just slowly slips out of your hands, and that's what it did this time for PDHM. rather than finding the early picks, it was themselves who got picked early. Just some individual pushes, or honestly, the only individual push we saw was Prompted pushing on the tower stairs. Nobody there to support him, and the Ash utility is not going to be enough to force out a Pillars player. You need a nade or something from a Capitao in order to do that. Hypers was allowed to play in that position, and Psycho was allowed to just swing back and forth onto the barrel's door, and that just simply was apparently enough for Vale to take the round. I mean, an early kill onto Exo without those nades in their hand, there was nothing you could really do about the Pillars pressure. Prompted couldn't actually get through the tower stairs, and never could PDHM take Pillars control and take the side of that basement that they wanted to initially take. I mean, often we will see teams go for that freezer and laundry-sided execute, mixing it up here or there, but in round number 2, it seemed that PDHM were pretty content on going for your default E-box and Pillars push and getting control of supply room that way rather than going for the laundry take. And when it came down to the wire, the rotation, well, it was a bit too late. Not much they could do there. But in round number 3, the focus, it finally shifts off of the basement bomb site, and we're heading upstairs to kids and dorms. A pretty standard bomb site that is usually one of the most common on this map. But what's less common is the presence of the Frost. Frozen is going to be pulling that out and is going to be losing a large part of their HP. About 90 HP is already wasted. Same for Hypers, who was already taken in the DBNO state, but who is back up on their feet and ready to potentially frag out again.
Oh.
What
Oh,
the
no.
heck? I wonder if that's open for them.
No, he had to use a breaching round on it. Oh, that sucks. I don't know. I still don't know why that happens. I mean, they're at least able to clear the reinforcement off it, but they've got to use extra utility to open the wall further, and even then, it's not as big of a hole. You can still see some of the soft wall protruding there. I guess that's to make up for the early damage Frozen and Hypers took, because now PDHM, they've got a slightly smaller avenue into games, so a smaller angle that Vale have to worry about as well. Smoke will start gassing it off, dealing no damage actually at all. I thought the thermite was going to get caught in the gas. Hyper's going for the flank, though. Up laundry stairs. Drone does not spot him, I don't think, although on its way back, it may have. You saw it turn around, like, right in the middle of the drone hole. He's going to try and make his way up, but there's Subarctic coming from garage, actually. I didn't even... Where was he? I didn't even see him. He's going to swing into garage. He'll finish off what little was left of Hypers after he was downed by Exo on the gen window earlier in the round. So now it's a one-man advantage for PDHM. Heading to the last minute of this round, they've got a decent bit of control. They've got all the breaches open. Now all they got to do is push onto the site and play for their trades.
Yeah, something that's going to be challenging to do so when there's just so many angles established here and still held by Vale. That'll be made clear as Exo's the first to find the grave, but Psycho and Subarctic will go 1 for 1. Psycho gets a good double kill, now looks for a third, secures it onto the head of Prompted, leaving Raffi all alone in a brutal 1v3. He'll pick up 1, putting down Psycho, and he only really has 1 more player to find now that Frozen is essentially on 1 HP. Only 1 stray bullet is all that is needed to do that. But in order to get there, he's got to jump into a frost mat or jump into the sight line of an M590. Marmalade finishing that one off. That was an impossible situation for the Thermite. It was either death by bear trap or death by shotgun.
Yeah, and that's kind of, you know, the strength of the Frost. You force someone to pick which engagement they want to take, either shooting the bear trap under their feet or shooting the player, sacrificing their life. That was a lose-lose situation there for Raffi, for, you know, as you said, even if he was somehow able to flick over and outduel the shotgun of Marmalade from that close angle, would have died to the bear trap anyway. Good attempt there by Raffi, able to pick off Psycho, but still that big 3K from the Jaeger on white stairs, turning that round on its head. If not for Psycho, we could have seen that go a different way. Thank God for him and the tremendous amount of gun skill that we've seen from him so far in, well, in the qualifier. Hasn't really done too much in the season just yet. He's doing certainly very well on Oregon, though. 5-2 to join Axe. Both of them doing tremendously well and being able to carry Vale through their 2-round victories. Now they'll go on to dining. I saw someone earlier in chat, I think it was R6 demo saying that this is probably why they banned the Hibana. Dining room is virtually unplayable without her, and I actually forgot about this, because of showers and Hibana. If you're on Hibana, you know, the strategy used to be hold inside of showers, open up the bottom of that left side wall you can see into small tower, and impact trick any hard breaching they try to do on the reinforcement. Hibana completely circumnavigates all impact tricking and makes showers virtually impossible to play. So if you're a team like Vale, you're a team that likes holding dining, you want to make sure that Hibana is not there. Or, well, PDHM are the ones who banned it. But Vale aren't going to, you know, not take advantage of that.
Showers hold is what makes dining viable, right? That's the only reason you choose this site over, you know, meeting and kitchen instead of this bomb site here. So it is good to see that at least Vale were thinking well ahead of this particular hold, and it's something that maybe we'll see work out well. Frozen is going to be the player. Go ahead.
Just say shout out to R6 Demo for reminding me.
Yes, I also saw that, and if you didn't bring it up, I was going to. Fantastic point, because you can just throw one pellet down at a time or two, and that can simply just be extremely annoying, and if you only have, in this case, 4 impacts, you have no shot. It seems that that wall has been opened up wide by one of those breaching rounds from Prompted to give them a better line of sight to challenging directly on to Frozen here. And now it's a nade, a smoke grenade, being tossed on down to obscure the vision of that Showers player. Not sure if that's going to be enough, though. More going to come in to dump that utility, a flashbang, but that one is going to backfire, flashing their entire team. And that's going to make this push, I guess, a little bit slower. Finally, they're going to just send it straight on through. Prompted goes for the swing, but the first one is denied. Frozen, however, could not finish off the kill before Raffy found one for their own. Raffy's going to get 2, as Marmalade will secure 1 in response. Prompted is on their back, but should be able to be recovered here. So PDHM, a good chance that they could maintain this advantage.
Raffy.
Oh, Raffy securing an even bigger advantage, cutting down Marmalade, now a 4v2.
Exo goes down, I think, thanks to the smoke grenade from Axe. He tried to just stick it through the gas, but unfortunately he was too low on HP by the time it actually went off. So now you've lost your Maverick, your primary planter. It'll be up to Raffy to try and secure that, I imagine, as the ace, but he's on a triple kill. He has been on a heater so far this round, getting all the entry, or I guess call it the Frenchery picks. Second gas canister, last gas canister from Axe goes out as Subarctic takes a whole heap of damage. And as Psycho takes out Subarctic, Axe finds Raffy on the cross through showers. Now he's Prompted all alone. Your 20 HP Ash, who was downed earlier in the round by Frozen but not finished off, clutch up the 1 versus 2 against the high rate of fire SMG-11 and the hard-hitting 416, and he'll fall to the smoke inside of Dining. Vale take round number 4. It was a brilliant start to the round from PDHM and Raffy in particular, but unfortunately they just could not lock it out.
That feels oddly similar to what we've said on Clubhouse. PDHM, a strong start. They've got the advantage. They've got the position they need to win out the round, and then it just slips through their fingers. Vale are doing such a good job at just clutching it up. And obviously not like a 1vx clutch, but even a 2v4. I mean, that's an impressive clutch still to pull off, and doing it on the tertiary bomb site is even something else to behold. So a great job there, pulling out the round, stretching this lead even further, and PDHM find themselves in a deeper and deeper hole every single round. Frozen is going to be looking to really dig that hole even further, now bringing out the Clash. An annoying operator. That's pretty much her first, second, and third character trait when it comes to usage in this game. Pretty useful when it comes to blocking off certain lines of sight and gathering a lot of intel. Allows you to play super aggressive angles behind the, you know, transparent shield as well. I suspect Psycho may be doing a little bit of quick peeking behind that, possibly on that barrel's door. But annoyance is really all the Clash gets you. Time delay is something, but a team with the utility and with the wherewithal to deal with the Clash right away, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Clash's real danger comes in the last 30 seconds of the round, where every second counts, and being constantly zapped and slowed by the most obnoxious gadget in the world, it makes things quite annoying and rather challenging to actually get done.
The worst thing ever is like getting stunned by Clash while like in a smoke grenade.
Yep.
Oh, it's the worst. especially getting into that crunch time, like you said. So Frozen is going to be a pretty pivotal operator into holding off Bunker for as long as possible. You can kind of treat the Clash too, like you said, like almost like a pseudo mirror window. You can kind of peek behind her because the slats in her shield are transparent. They're see-through. So you just tell the Clash to be like, hey, just move over. And then just pre-fire. First exothermic charge goes out from Raffi. I believe that was opening up E-box hatch, if I'm not mistaken. There's no Cade, so there's nothing at all to stop it. Exo goes to work over by Laundry. And he's the one carrying the diffuser, so I wonder if this backside presence is going to be to facilitate that later pinch, because a lot of times we see when people flood Laundry and flood Freezer, there's one guy that drops E-box and tries to take advantage of the ensuing chaos to get a good flank off and get 1 or 2 picks over towards supply and even inside the hallway. So yes, this is indeed going to be a Laundry Freezer push from PDHM.
The question is, have they decided this from the very beginning, or once they saw the Clash, is that when they made their decision? Because this is the bomb site that Clash just straight up sucks on. You cannot defend Laundry with a Clash effectively. Of course, there are moments where it's useful if the attackers just go super one-sided on their approach or they don't get that crossfire established early, but a Clash in a crossfire, that is a recipe for disaster. Psycho is going to secure the opening kill, taking out Wab, and now making it harder to actually deal with that Clash. Hypers are now getting another. There go your nades and your utility to deal with the Clash that we've talked so much about is dwindling by the second. This crossfire now, only one more player on this Freezer side, and a player who appears to be eager to rotate away. Fully mounting it now from this main stairs side, that's going to be Raffi, but his head is quickly taken off by a swing from Hypers. A double kill now for the Wamai. Subarctic and Prompted have to really pull this one back. I'm not sure where they're going right now. Prompted went up the stairs into tower, and as Prompted now comes down the stairs, Psycho is going to shut them down. A nice double kill for Psycho as well, leaving Subarctic alone in an impossible 1v5. 15 seconds are left. This is going to be a case of just sit here, save the KD, bolster the stats, and lose the round.
5 seconds left.
Did the Clash even have much to do with that?
Nope.
PDHM just tried
You have run out of time.
to make the break for it and got absolutely crushed. Wav playing in Freezer was the linchpin for the Vale defense, not allowing anybody to get past him at all. I think finding 2 kills over in that position, if I'm not mistaken. And Hypers, of course, supporting and swinging onto the Laundry double to make sure that no one could stay there safely either. So PDHM, again, so far on their attacks, just have not looked great. Vale, again, stalwart on their defensive half. They'll go on to dorms yet again, where, granted, this is the site where I think PDHM looked the best, with the exception of the round they won. But Psycho with a 3K onto White was there to shut that all down. Now, of course, you can't really rely on that to happen every single time. You've also got Frozen no longer playing the Frost. You've got more intel at his disposal with the Valkyrie. But PDHM really need this round. If Vale go up 5-1 on their defense, I think this map is as good as over.
Yeah, I would agree. I think for PDHM, this isn't as bad of a situation as it was on Clubhouse because this is their attacking half, and Oregon is still a map that finds itself, like most maps in Siege at the moment, a defensive-sided game for the most part. This map does find itself going defensive-sided if, oh my. Oh, look at that. Psycho's gone. Goodbye, Psycho. Another 3-hour rehost is upon us. But, they're not going to call for the rehost yet. They're going to have to play out this round. It seems Hypers is going to bid his teammate farewell, and Vale will have to take this one on with only 4 players. So, the whole spiel I was about to go on about the defensive-sided half and whatnot, yada yada, it maybe doesn't matter here, because PDHM should have a really good starting point. Never mind. Hypers is quickly going to shut that down, taking down EXO, and yes, that is the Maverick. 2 frag grenades gone, and a hell of a lot of utility no longer on the board. Not the player that PDHM wanted to lose here. albeit it's still a 4v4, because you got a free kill by a disconnect. So this is where PDHM need to secure this round. If they can't, it would not only be tough to make that comeback, but their mental, I mean, it would be just chalk at that point.
Ooh, the Valkyrie of Frozen looking away at a most inopportune moment. Hyper's taking a lot of damage from the Ash that had felled his teammate as well. Is now on low HP. Hypers will have to lick his wounds and stay inside of Attic, play probably passively for the Crossfire instead of taking aggressive engagements. I'll leave most of the heavy duty to go to Marmalade and Axe, the SAS duo, still with a C4 and one gas canister in pocket as Axe rips the second. 4 versus 3 for PDHM, and they've got plenty of time to play with. They are in an excellent position. Hopefully they don't throw this away. Hypers, though, holding that tight angle prompted, does not see him on the floor. That is a free kill for the Wamai to now even the odds. A white flank comes up from the Zofia, but Marmalade is more than ready. Head ripped off of the Frenchie, and now it's just Subarctic and Raffi. Again, the support duo to try and clutch up a 2 versus 3. This started as a 5v4, and PDHM, again, have not been able to transition into a successful mid-round at all throughout Oregon, with the exception of round number 1. Subarctic is just going to hold inside of the game's breach, wait for Raffi to get into position. Not quite sure where that would be. I assume just on the big window. That's where we saw him repelling earlier. There is no frost, so he doesn't have to be afraid of any bear traps. Will actually go on to white, getting choked off a little bit by that gas canister, and they know exactly where he is, thanks to the proximity alarm as well. Only 30 seconds left. PDHM are going to have to make their move. SMG-11 recoil proves too much for Marmalade to handle, and she'll go down on the long angle. Raffi's covering over by the white stairs. Subarctic going to try and get this plant down, but the biggest worry here is they have to worry about Hypers coming in. Axe with the shotgun will whiff, and Raffi finishes off the low HP Hypers. Big plays from the Frenchie as PDHM finally are able to take their second attacking round.
That one was a mess. That one was a mess from the beginning, and it did not stop. But for PDHM's sake, they will definitely be thankful that it was a mess. They ended up emerging victorious on 2 rounds on attack. Not bad. Not bad. It turns out it was a respectable performance. It does help that they didn't have to deal with a full 5-man stack, however, as I'm sure they are thinking. But hopefully they can make this comeback on their defensive side as well. Only a 2-round deficit here, and they could absolutely use this moment to really kick things in gear at this point. But to focus on that last round for a moment, it was interesting the situation that Hypers was in, because Hypers knew where the 2 players were. He knew that there was somebody coming up white because the proximity alarm and the smokes were there, and he knew where the plant was going down because he heard the plant noise. However, the one thing he didn't know was exactly where Raffi was holding. Had he known that Raffi was simply just holding the rotation from the dorm side, he could have actually gone for the push onto the planter. There was literally no coverage there. The only coverage would have been the Nomad. In that case, it was Subarctic, who had his face buried in the ground, trying to get the plant down. Now, of course, Subarctic would have popped off that and gone for the pre-fire around the corner, though when he heard Hypers make the push, but it was something that could have really been dangerous for PDHM, just because of those positions that they were forced to undertake with only 2 attackers remaining. It is an interesting balance to strike, right? If you cover from white, you're able to lock down the rotation out of kids. No. Oh my goodness, no way. That was almost an absolute disaster. That was really close. But just to finish that point, if you cover the rotation from white, sure, you can lock off the kids' rotation, but generally that trophy door coverage is a little bit better. But it's something that I think PDHM were trying to just mix it up, keep it loose, and make sure they had Vale on the back foot, and it turns out it worked.
Fortunately for Vale, Psycho has not reconnected, so he'll continue to play in a 4 versus 5, making it a 3 versus 5 as Raffi gets the opening pick. Raffi has been showing up tremendously on map number 2 after a bit of a poor performance on map number 1, so he's certainly making up for it now. No more Hypers, no more Sledge. On the top floor attack, not that big of a deal, but that is nades now gone. Interesting point that we haven't mentioned either is that Frozen will be on the 0. Doubling up on the flank watch, both 0 and Nomad. I wonder if that makes me think maybe Frozen's not really going to be using the 0 for flank watch, but as I say that, he's downstairs watching flank from the white window. There's plenty of players downstairs from PDHM too, potentially playing for that C4. downstairs kitchen realm has started to come back into prevalence. Frozen does get the first pick for his team. Rafi, who started things off, will be the next player to fall. And Frozen, now put on low HP, will start to run away back down to the basement so he can fight another day with the rest of his team.
Yeah, this one not over yet for Vale. They've got a 3v4, an achievable situation, and especially now that Axe is going to line up a nice headshot there onto WAV. This one is still doable. Frozen, only basically 1 HP to their name. Not the best place to be in overall, but still doable. A C4, though, could really mark the end of this round for Vale if it's able to just breathe on Frozen even a little bit. Axe, he may go for the swing, and nope, he can't do that if he's going to full flash himself. Waiting for the flash to clear, but then walking straight on into his 6-foot grave, as prompted, will deliver that. Exo will get another, and Exo will round it out. A nice kill on to the already dead Frozen on the top of the white stairs. A great defensive performance from Exo and from everyone on PDHM, and they will take the round.
Much better round there. Their defense already looking more confident than it did on Clubhouse. Really good roam downstairs from Rafi and his cohorts, holding off any presence inside of kitchen. I'm not quite sure why Axe vaulted through the big window. That was definitely a questionable decision, considering that most of his team was posted over towards, or you had one in trophy and Frozen downstairs, so you had nobody to rely off of to get your trade or cover your angle. So he just kind of jumped to his death. Frozen, sure, he was able to get a kill downstairs, but he was so far removed from the action that his teammates were kind of isolated on an island from each other. And by the time he actually tried to go for the play on white stairs, it was way too late. They'll finally suffer. They're the first time being handed a second loss in a row since rounds 5 and 6 of Clubhouse. They'll already swap things up. Axe now off of Nomad onto Ash, and Frozen onto Lion.
That's a good spicy change. Frozen has been the player pulling out the unexpected so far tonight. The Frost, the Tachanka, the Dokubi, I believe, and now the Lion. So great to see so much variation in our operator selection. But I guess we'll have to see how it works out. What's really been impressive so far for Vale is Axe. I mean, subbing in to this roster, Afer is the player that is unable to be here on this roster today. Those are big shoes to fill, and Axe has done a stellar, oh my goodness, no way, a stellar job at that.
Wow.
A big applause to Axe for making that one happen, but I guess applause to WAV for maybe a slap on the back and a detention for WAV, now that he's going to use the ruthless bullet hole angle, and he will get a pick onto Hypers, just the way PDHM wanted to start, furthered by Prompted, now lining up Axe, who I just talked so much about, making this one a 5 versus 2.
Wow. Making it 5 versus 1. As WAV is still upstairs using that E-box angle, trying to find Marmalade as well. At least she is actually unaware of that player in Harry Potter. Rafi peeks out as the Vigil, and PDHM take a pretty easy round. This is pretty unfortunate for Vale, considering that they've already used their 2 timeouts. So
yes, they have.
They just... Psycho's PC broke. Wow, so this is going to have to be a 4 versus 5 for the rest of this game.
Oof.
That is really unfortunate, and that might be what loses them the map, which is really sad because they looked really good.
I'm going to hit you with a troubling statistic here for PDHM. They won 2 rounds on Club, one of which was directly influenced by the lack of Psycho. They've won 3 rounds, well, 4 rounds total on Oregon, 3 of which were directly impacted by Psycho's PC. So of the now 6 rounds that they've won, to sum that up, 2 of those rounds I'd say have been fully earned. And the rest have not, that's not been the case. That has not been the case. And I did not enter this series thinking we'd be saying a statistic like that. I did not think PDHM would just be so different compared to Vale. Vale are looking good. They are just shutting down PDHM at every turn. But in a 5v4, there's really not much you can do. And 2 of those rounds PDHM have been able to take. It has been a very one-sided series, and even though PDHM will likely take this one here, I think this really is just a really good match for Vale. They have looked so strong, and it was a troubling day for PDHM, who even with all these disconnect issues, even with the momentum being just shut down by a 3-hour-long rehosts, Vale have still been able to just add wins to this board, and they show no signs of stopping, although it seems that the gods of Psycho's PC seems to have forced their hand, and they will be no longer able to mount their full force in this series, and this one is going to be an unfortunate way to close out what could have been one of the most competitive series we've seen so far.
So I think someone just left aggro. Asian just put out an LFT for entry flex. I wonder if that means... Well, if Asian's putting out the LFT, I wonder if it's Ash. He was their other entry. Their flex player was Eddie.
LFT or LFP?
LFP, sorry. Well, WAV gets the leadoff kill in this round, though. Hypers goes down. Quick trade, though, from Marmalade. Turns out it is Ashen who left. Unfortunate, Ashen was a beast. Ashen was incredible, so that's unfortunate to see. Hopefully they pick up a player to his caliber. No one's on that drone to see Exo move up the tower stairs, but in the meantime, Frozen's able to take out Prompted. There's another frag from Axe. Subarctic goes down. This round has gone in the favor of Vale now. But there's Raffi. An important kill onto Frozen from above. Exo's still down below. He could make something happen from above, or from below this hatch, but Raffi, he gets caught. Reloading. Marmalade just looks up and takes him down, and Exo can't deny this plant from down into E-Box. He'll pre-fire over towards Green Hall. That's just going to choreograph his position, trying to find the player over by the pillar inside of Kitchen, but he turns his back at the wrong time, and Axe just shoots him through the wall. Vale are actually able to take round number 9 the first time since the disconnect of Psycho.
Yikes. Yikes. PDHM cannot lose these. PDHM cannot lose these. But Vale is making it happen regardless. I mean, great job to Marmalade.
I guess so.
She just fried everybody walking into that one. AK-12 is a great weapon, and I guess without a teammate, it gets even better? I don't know what to say. Of course, in this kind of situation, maybe PDHM are just feeling bad for Vale, and they, you know what, you deserve this victory, let's give it to you. Although, they are sending us pretty mixed signals if that is the plan. Making the comeback happen only to lose a round on the tertiary bomb site in a 4v5 situation. So PDHM looking to clean up their act here, going to the top floor. Kids and Dorms coming up next. And hopefully, we're not going to see them throw this away again. I mean, honestly, I don't know. Maybe we want Vale to take this because Vale earned it, and it would be silly for PDHM to win this simply on a fluke. I really don't know. Our hopes for seeing a competitive siege are kind of out the window at this point. Go ahead.
That would be pretty funny if Vale still won, though.
It would be hilarious.
It would be really funny. We'd get an interview and he'd be like, hey, did you expect to win a 4v5? And then I assume it would be Frozen doing the interview, and then he can, you know, shit talk all he wants. Probably be directed at, like, Exo and Raffi, because he's known them for so long.
The only thing I'm going to ask Frozen is, hey, how do you get enough money now to get Psycho a real computer?
Yeah, Psycho's got some issues that he's got to work through. Hopefully it doesn't impede him in Challenger League. That would be awful. WAV is yet again spawn peeking. Can he find Axe? All Axe has to do is back up to be exposed to this angle, but he won't. So luckily for us, WAV won't be able to get a free rat pick at the beginning of the round. Axe has already removed the utility from the game's wall, so Marmalade able to open that up. Not looking for an avenue, but rather just a sight line. Shooting the ace charges before they can do their second round. Exo and Raffi, you can see both playing below, both for that C4 presence, because you have, of course, you know, that Valkyrie, you'll have plenty of info, and that is an angle I have not often seen used.
Nice throw.
Brilliant throw there from, I believe that was Subarctic, to get the first kill onto Hypers.
Good start there for PDHM. They got the kill. It was a nice throw. They're starting off well. And shocker, they have a lead in a 4v5, and now it's a 3v5. So, looking to further this, you've got Frozen, who's trying to find some response. A couple of pre-fires around towards the trophy side of things, but not able to do so. Now opening up this wall between attic and trophy makes sure that nobody can play in this pit position, and has now sacrificed attic control into the hand of Axe. A nice nade, but not quite far enough to do damage other than the 10 it did to Wav. Axe is going to be wary of a possible flank, but he need not be. All 5 defenders are either on the bomb site or only slightly below. Exo is taking up those reins, got a C4 in hand, which could be quite lethal, but it's in fact going to be Raffi, who is lethal instead, cutting down Frozen and dropping the diffuser in the middle of attic. Now Axe is going to have to go for a crazy play here to bring this one back, but Exo and Raffi, they are not going to let that happen, and PDHM will take round 10, winning a round that they should be winning, equalizing the scoreline at 5-5.
Good stuff from PDHM in that round. Excellent opener from Subarctic. Haven't seen that C4 angle be used quite as much as I think it deserves to be. It's a great angle. Just being able to get a free kill pretty much into trophy and like right into the master door. And the thing is just kind of snowballed from there. Again, Vale are in a 4 versus 5, so an opening pick way, way more detrimental than it normally is. Axe will actually swap from Ash on a Jackal, interestingly enough. I mean, you do have Vigil and Jaeger on the board, so when they're both there on a luxury defense, you can kind of expect there to be some sort of roaming presence, and they just want the Jackal to be able to track that down a little bit easier. PDHM have at least tied up our score 5-5, you know, even though it's likely due to disconnect from Psycho. This map is a hell of a lot closer than Clubhouse was, which I guess we can be thankful for. Although, that does mean we have to play a 4 versus 5 for longer, which isn't great. That's also interesting. I wonder why PDHM are reinforcing the other side of Elbow.
Switching it around. Keeping it loose, keeping it spicy. This is something I have seen before. Some teams like to mix and match this. The one thing I have seen with this strategy is you don't actually put a deployable shield in Elbow. You put it in laundry, or excuse me, in supply room, and you leave that open. And it kind of changes up the game here. We are going to see Subarctic do that, but it's not going to be at the right angle to actually contest. If you just, you know, slightly turn that shield around, it will act a lot like the Elbow shield, except you've got more ADSs that are harder to actually deal with inside of the site itself. It's something that isn't very common, but I have seen before, so that's clearly not what's going on here, but worth mentioning. Raffi is going to open up the round number 11. We'll open up with a kill onto Frozen. That is a pretty good pick to get. Wab is going to get another one, this time onto Axe, the top frag right now for Vale, now that Psycho is out of this fight. And that's going to leave Marmalade and Hypers alone in a 2v5 situation. Exo looking to change that up immediately, finishing off Hypers, and now has eyes on the diffuser. At this point, all Marmalade can do is walk in and die, hoping to get a kill before that, nearly catching Raffi, who's challenging in split. But I think this will just be a waiting game for Marmalade at this point.
Of course, that round characterized by the attackers walking in with no intel and PDHM sitting in spots that Vale just didn't expect. So, good round from PDHM there. Raffi starting things off onto Frozen, knocking out the sledge. Axe being able to jackal track Raffi, but quickly killed by Web, so no more tracks onto Raffi, I guess. And then you had Hypers trying to move down White Stairs, and Exo was just there waiting. Not a lot to talk about. Just the attackers walking in and the defenders getting their picks. Now we move on to, you know, for everyone's sake, what is hopefully the last round of this game. Meeting Hall Kitchen is going to be the site for PDHM, but remember last time they tried to defend this, they did lose the 4 versus 5. In fact, it was actually a 3 versus 5 because they got the opening pick. Hopefully PDHM don't do that again because they need these 3 points. That is the ideal situation. After losing 3 maps in a row, they need these 3 points. If Vale ties it up here, that's essentially a win for them and a loss for PDHM.
Yeah, if they could take 3 points, PDHM, I mean, that is the freest 3 points they're ever going to get. And honestly, 3 points, they're going to be happy. Maybe this is what they need. This can be their turning point in the season. You know, they can get these points, get on that scoreboard, and oddly enough, a win here in this round will mean that PDHM and Vale are tied in the scoreboard, essentially. Which, on the scoreboard, it will look like these two teams were competitive, but this series has been everything but. Now match point. Hopefully PDHM can close it out here, and doing so on the tertiary bomb site. That'll be their objective. It'll be meeting and kitchen rather than dining and kitchen, what we saw from Vale on their defensive side. So the vertical play is going to be even more important than it would be on dining. That's why we see Exo and Raffi holding this top floor. You've got Prompted and Wav holding below. Now Wav actually going for a little bit of a play here on the tower stairs. A risky one, but in a 5v4, these are the kind of risks that you can afford to take. Playing this one pretty aggressively, but now that he's been droned on out, Wav will go for the fallback play, and that will allow Vale to start pushing on in and taking tower control.
See if PDHM can start this round off right again, just like they did on the initial meeting defense. It was the mid-round where they really faltered, and the execute from Vale was on point, allowing them to take advantage of some pretty poor positioning by PDHM on the anchor game. Start to drone in downstairs. This is where they got flanked in the last round. Wav will not be misdroned, so already start to fall back. Exo taking some damage up inside of attic as well. He'll survive, he'll persist. The wall, of course, not open just yet, so he's free to sit here for as long as he wishes. Minute and a half left. Vale haven't really made too much progress other than just getting themselves inside of tower, but no ADSs on Exo means this nade could potentially find its mark and will only do a little bit of damage as Exo falls down the hatch, rejoin his team on site as Marmalade starts to open the wall.
No early picks yet for either team. This is looking up for Team Vale, especially now that Frozen finds one. But Raffi on the attic retake will get one, nearly the second, but it's Marmalade, in fact, who gets that kill. Now, this is actually a pretty big moment here, because if PDHM aren't able to secure these 3 points and Vale are the team that did it to them, I mean, that would be even stronger of a message. Vale to walk out of this with just 1 point by taking this to OT could simply be, that's well be pretty significant. It's a 3v3, and Hyper does not have a lot of health to their name, so not the way they wanted to do this one, but still very much achievable. They've forced Subarctic back into security. Prompted is not holding meeting actively, but playing on the rotate in kitchen. Ooh. But Exo, they're getting aggressive and finding the head of Axe to really drive this one home for PDHM. 20 seconds are all that remains. Hypers goes for the play in kitchen, trying to catch PDHM off guard here, but shots could not be landed onto the castle. Subarctic and Prompted will round it out, and PDHM will secure Oregon, and they will secure the points for, quote-unquote, a decisive win. 3 points. Each team, the tie in the series.
Man, that means I was right.
It means you were right, bro.
Come on. The one time I, don't want to get my prediction right, it's right. Well, 11-8 for Acts. Great performance from the sub. And meanwhile, you got 14-8 from Raffi, really showing up on map number 2. Unfortunate, again, for Vale that Psycho could not reconnect, but as Marmalade had so eloquently put in the game chat, it happens. Sometimes the game, sometimes life just says no, and you just gotta deal with it. 7-5 for PDHM. Both teams will come away with 3 points on the day. Both of these teams' first 3 points in the season, so I'm sure they're definitely happy about that.
Yeah, we'll be looking to get out of this matchup and send it into our next one as soon as humanly possible. Synthetic...
behind schedule.
Exactly. Synthetic and Honor will be our next matchup. We do have some statistics to take a look at before we get there, and while it will be odd stats to look at, maybe something can be gleaned even from the 4v5 performance, and I think those stats, if anything, they may tell us a lot about Axe performance. Hard support all day long, but just playing really, really well and filling Aver's shoes quite nicely.
Ooh, Wav.
Yeah, boo on that belittle. Is that what you were?
Spawn peaks.
Just the
Wav
worst.
Wav was like, yo, it's a 4v5 word? And you started going for all this rat stuff. So congratulations to PDHM. They finally get their first 3 points. Vale, winning Clubhouse 7-2 earlier. Much better round differential as well. So most of the replays there were at the hands of PDHM, just again, because it was a 4 versus 5 for the entire second half of that map. Super unfortunate for Vale. I really think that it would have probably gone to overtime, if not just been a Vale win with Psychosis in the lobby. And I know he's in Twitch chat, so Psycho, feel bad about yourself, about your situation for losing your team the game. No, I'm kidding. I love Psycho. Psycho's cracked. Hopefully he gets his... I really hope he gets his PC issues cleared soon, because, I mean, SCS is one thing. Challenger League...
That's another.
And a shot at Pro League is another. So, Psycho, I'm praying for you, man. Hopefully you can get your PC issues all sorted out. But until then, we've got... whenever the stats come up, we can talk about that. Because, I mean, I'd love to do post-map analysis and discussion, but not much to it. Speaking of stats, right on cue, look at that. Raffi doing incredibly wow. Psycho, a great rating for the amount of time he actually spent in the game. What was it, four rounds? I think he was in for like five rounds. Okay, Ferme says 5. So in those 5 rounds, Psycho was 8-2, a 2.01 rating, a whole 100% cost.
Only
incredible
one
play.
Defensive op. No
incredible
attacking.
play from Psycho. Too bad he couldn't, be with us. Meanwhile, you got Subarctic on the other side going 6-5 with a 1.06. And Raffi, the big power player for PDHM, 14-8, an 83% cost for him. Incredible plays, although it wasn't a 5v4. I think this match will always have to have that asterisk next to it. I'm just glad that Acts, at least, a very valiant attempt from the substitute.
Yeah, great job there. Really putting the team on his back for those last few rounds. Marmalade really stepped up as well once Psycho was out of the lobby. So overall, these are our match statistics between the 2 maps. And you can see really the story. It was Psycho who, when he was in the game, performed exceptionally well. 1.34 overall rating. And pretty solid cost, 64% as well. Marmalade coming up second on that team. Again, solid rating and pretty good support work, playing on that ace constantly on attack. 3 plants to her name. So a nice job there as well. The entry game was something that we talked about, that Psycho, a player, excelled in that category. But Hypers actually struggled when it came to getting in that building safely and surviving on the defensive half, really made worse by the fact that Hypers was spawn peaked every round in the 4v5. So
yeah,
it does happen like that.
I feel like that statistic might be grossly engorged just a little bit by that 4v5 and Wav taking full advantage of it. So all around decent stat spread from both teams. Of course, it was a tie, but because of a 7-2 on Clubhouse compared to a 5-7 on Oregon, Vale is going to have higher stats overall. So, again, really good performance by Psycho, getting as many kills in 14 rounds as the rest of his team did in 21. So if that doesn't just attest to the power of Psycho and how good of an entry fragger he is, I don't know what will.
I also think you can see the power of Vale themselves by the fact that, what they just did here tonight was very impressive. But the fact that Project Neo were able to do this to Vale, not quite this severely. They were able to, take 7-5 victories, I believe, on both maps against Vale last week. What does that say for Neo? That is a pretty good sign for them. It's not a Challenger League team, mind you. So, pretty concerning, for the other groups, or at least eye-opening for the groups in Team B, Group B. rather. And they'd be like, hey, Project Neo, that is a team to watch out for. And something to keep an eye on down the line.
Neo are definitely one of our heavier hitters in the underage scene, at least. I think they won 2 seasons of ESA when ESA was still decently competitive anyway.
Oof.
And they're actually competing in the NSG tournament. They play...
Is that public?
Oh, that's a good point. I don't know if who they play is public yet. Well, they play a pro team first. We do know how it's seeded. It's pro teams versus amateur teams. So they do play a pro team first. I won't reveal what that pro team is. But that should be a pretty exciting game. I imagine they're going to get their asses handed to them. But hey, it'll be a great
fun to
learning
watch.
experience. Yeah, it'll be a great learning experience for JJ. I think Aerial Arise are playing in it. Gatekeepers, Neo, bunch of Challenger League teams, stuff like that.
Should be a blast.
That's later. That's later this week. We are going to finally cut to a break. Of course, we do have a second game after this. It is Synthetic versus Honor. 2 teams who both did very well in our first week of play. Synthetic, who did Synthetic beat?
No, Synthetic lost.
No, Synthetic got hammered.
Yeah, hammered.
Never mind.
7-0. Yeah.
They got destroyed. 2-0. What was it? 2-0 by aggro. And
Yeah, first map was
Honor-
close, second one wasn't.
Yeah. Honor, though, was able to take a 2-0 over PDHM. So we got kind of a flip, and Synthetic will also be playing with 2 subs, but that'll be right after this. Thank you all for sticking with us through all the rehosts, through the 4v5. I know it was definitely tough for you guys to get through. It's tough for us to get through. It's probably even tougher for the teams who are playing to get through. Of course, stay tuned. It'll be, I believe, Lynx and McCready casting the second game. So stick around for that. We love you. We'll be back right after this break.